Hello, people. Let me make sure this is where I need it. Well, I'd like to welcome you, who's ever here. Listen, I don't usually come on when Vinny has a show going because what I don't like to bump into him because he has a certain amount of people in his podcast. And but I told Vinny about 45 minutes ago he will be coming over here. We're going to talk a little bit about the baseball strike, but right now we're just going to talk about stuff we have here. I'm going to some of the names here and see who's here. The Truth is here. He's been here right from the very beginning. The Truth, how you doing? The Westies. Okay, Tim Reed. Very interesting, Tim Reed. You don't usually come into my show. You say a lot of stuff about me, but you don't usually come into this show. But you know what? We don't throw people out here unless they earn it. So you're more than welcome. Just be a little respectful. If you disagree with me, that's okay, as long as you're not like totally disrespectful. Okay, let's see. River Usk, how you doing, River Usk? Terry says tapes. He has old A-Light ad. MTR loves tapes. Uh, yeah, MTR did a show today. I believe it was on A-Light or this morning. I didn't see it yet, but I definitely will be taking a look at that. Greg Jenner, mobtubers. How you doing, Greg? I appreciate you being here. Just sit down. What are you doing here, Jeff? I appreciate you being here like always. You're a good guy. Anybody that hasn't subbed to Jeff's channel, please do so. He's putting out great content. If you want to learn some really good stuff, go check out Jeff's channel. And congratulations on your growth, Jeff. It's really been quite incredible, but you're earning it. You're putting up great product. Mob Entertainment, JC. How you doing, JC? Matt Collier, how you doing from on the other side of the pond? And look who's here. I hope you're having a good time with your family, MB. And I won't mention your other dad because you know we don't want to make nobody jealous. Okay, Beantown, how you doing, Beantown? Joseph Quinn, great to see you're staying out of the drama and focus. Well, yesterday I didn't, but that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to not talk any bullshit about anybody. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to bring some people in here that want to jump on the show. I wasn't planning on doing a show today, but you know what? It's 10 degrees here in Texas, and I'm in the southwest part of Texas, and we don't usually get this cold. It must be what they basically would call the climate change. A-Rock, let's go. Hey, why not, man? Let's see. You know, you can say that once or twice. Let's not get too political in here because YouTube doesn't like us disagreeing with their political philosophy. Okay, Westies, how you doing? Glad to see you here. River Usk, I already said hi. Wow, all of a sudden you guys are pouring in. Rodney Barrington, how you doing? JT the God. Lee must have went to Target and got a new shirt this morning. Actually, no, this shirt is about 20 years old. No new shirt, JT, but if that makes you feel good to say that, great button. Hey, plus you got a picture there. I believe that's Floyd Mayweather. I hear that he doesn't like to pay people. He's having a lot of issues now. Floyd Mayweather's, I think he's broke. And he owes a lot of money. He owes a lot of money now to a few people that he just fought. And never pays them. The guy will take you to court instead of paying it because he knows that him going to court is cheaper. And a lot of guys can't afford to go to court. So what Mayweather does, he doesn't pay them. You know, and it kind of sucks. You know, he's not a very honorable guy. Silvio, how you doing? Donnie Ragu, watching two shows simultaneously. Have a great show. Good. I'm glad you are. And when Vinny jumps over, he'll jump over. Tim Reed. MTR, oh boy, he is in trouble. Mob Tours has A-Light, MTR, love tapes. That whole thing going on right now between Mob Tours. If I had to put my money on somebody, I'll put my money on MTR. I don't know what the motive is with Mob Tours. He hasn't really put it out there. Right now, it's just like he's harassing him to harass him. So it's going to be interesting to see. Lee, you need a Stetson hat with a button-up, partner. Nah, I like my bald head right here. Wayne, Lee Cole is so cool, even Canada loves him. Well, you know, who loves Canada right now? Canada is treating their truckers like garbage. And I never thought I'd see the day when the most important part of any economy is truckers and trains. And to go after truckers really doesn't make any sense. I find this very hard to believe. That's not happening, Tim. You're bringing false news here, Tim. Okay. So I'm gonna talk about a few things. This week I got a little bit over 1,800 views on our website on mobtubers.com, the blog, and just on that page alone. And I did some redesigning today, and I just want to show you guys. You can tell me what you think. One second. Well, this is it right here. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to close this damn thing right here. Okay, here we go. So this is if you go to the blog page, it's really good stuff, really good stories put down, and you can send me. You guys have my emails. You can tell me your opinion of them, whether you agree with them or disagree. And well, basically, right now, that's the beginning of the page right there. We just put a couple old Brooklyn pictures in there, and Robert DiBernardo is. A story has just been written on him by Tony B, who usually comes in here. Dwayne. This guy Goldie was a Bonanno associate. We're even talking about people that were lower level, because the lower level people are the ones that actually run these. Well, back in the days, they were the ones that did all the bull work and all the hard work on the street. And we did one on Thomas Bilotti, and down here, you can always hit that, and you can go to other pages, and we have Tony Pep in there, Mickey Scars, Wild Bill. The Valachi papers over there, you know, and it's gotten great response. And I'm very so when I started it, let me get rid of this. When I started the blog, I didn't think I was going to get the response that we've gotten on it. You know, it's pretty incredible. Okay, AAA, wait till Vinny Braco finish first. No, actually, I mentioned it to Vinny 45 minutes ago that I was starting. So it's not like I'm just starting when Vinny's on. I wouldn't do that. Okay, I'm going to drop the invite. Whoever wants to jump up is more than welcome. The invite's right there, people. I know there's a few of you guys that probably want to jump in, so feel free to jump in. Well, anyway, the website's doing really good. When I started the website, there were other people, other bloggers that said, not bloggers, let me rephrase that, podcasters that said that they're out of date now. People don't look at websites anymore. That's not true. If you put up a good website, and my website right now is average because we're doing a lot of other work on it. I can't afford to go out and pay people to build my website. I build my own website. So what I do is I try to improve it as each day goes along. And we are getting views. We're getting more and more views all the time. And we're getting a great response back on the blogs. And most of our views are coming, believe it or not, from the New York, New Jersey area and California. Like yesterday, we had 500 views from the New York, New Jersey area, just in the blog alone. And And sometimes the only people that ever give us a hard time on the stories and question them are other people that have other channels. They'll say, hey, look, I don't think this is right. I don't think this is right. But the guy that really does the blogs, he lives in Brooklyn and he knows a lot of guys from the life. And a lot of people that read the blogs are guys that enjoy them. And we don't make them really long. People don't like reading long stories. They just want to read a average size story. And that's what we do. And that's what we give them. Okay, guys, I put the invite down there. I seen a couple of you down there. Jump in. JC, that's for you if you want to jump in. Okay, so I'm going to read some of these guys. Today's show is basically for you guys. If you want to jump on, if you want to write questions and stuff, just do it. We're not, but don't do any of the drama shit. If they want to start shit with me tonight, let them start stuff. But let's not go in that direction today. I said what I had to say yesterday. That's it. Yes, the truckers. Yeah, and that whole thing's starting to backfire on them big time. The way they're treating the truckers in Canada. But, this guy Trudeau is a piece of garbage. That's, he's like Biden. You wonder how the hell he ever got in office. Thanks for backing up the truckers, Lee. Any decent person would back the truckers. Anybody that backs government over the working man, you really got to question. That's hard. A lot of people don't understand what work is like being a trucker. You're in your truck, you're driving all over the country. Most truckers are the over-the-road truckers. They work 6-7 days a week, and they make that job harder and harder for them and give them tougher and tougher restrictions. Everything that's going on right now, people, is being planned. They're literally trying to bring down this country. They want to put us in wars. They want to go after the working man. They purposely jacked up inflation. This whole thing with inflation and gas has been done on purpose. It's obvious it's being done on purpose because we cannot have people this stupid running our country. They're doing everything they know that will jack up inflation. And the only people making money right now are the people in the stock market because they want to make sure those guys keep getting plenty of money. So when everything comes crashing down, those guys have their $1 billion in the bank, and the average Joe, working man, is going to be screwed over. That's it. And people say, oh, don't make it political. Bullshit. I'll make it political. I have the right to talk about what's going on in this world. What are we going to ignore it? That's the problem. We all ignore this shit going on. It's horrible what's going on right now. We have a guy running the country that doesn't even know how to walk from the bedroom to the bathroom. And people don't want to hear that, but it's like, okay, so this is what you wanted. You got it. Now, the people that didn't vote for this have to do the suffering. They give it to the working man. That's true. Triple A. Wait till Vinny. No, we already talked about that. Okay. Hey, when you want to call me, hundreds of billions of dollars for COVID payments, also given some cases more money than they had while they were working, you get inflation. Surprise. And they know this. Ramundi, they know, but they knew what they were doing. This is planned. Let's not be stupid here and think that this is a mistake, what's going on. This is all planned. It's like you got China, you got the people, both parties in Washington, that want to kill this country. They open up the borders. Look at all the things they're doing. What you doing, my man?
Oh, just enjoying some time at the house. It's been going good. Ironically enough, that politics came up. One of my old friends that helped me out in one of my criminal cases, who was in the state legislature, he wrote a letter on my behalf to the judge, which I'll be honest was a big difference maker between lighter sentencing versus higher sentencing, announced for city council yesterday. So I was over there. One of Freeway Rick Ross, the ex-coke dealer, one of his guys joined us down there. And, his message this time was, though, we have to get back to being tougher on crime again. We can't allow smash and grab robberies in California anymore. We can't let looters.
They're not going to change it. They're not.
Yeah, and you know, this guy's a Republican, so he's running, you know, in a district that, you know, is more leaning left, but he was always known as like one of the guys who would do business with the Democrats when it was appropriate and not when, you know, when it wasn't. So we'll see how it happens, but the demographics of California is much different than 20 years ago even. So
I want to read some of these.
You know,
you can help, and we'll get into this. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring it, but
well, congrats to your blog, by the way, Lee.
1 second.
Go ahead.
I don't want to fall behind on these.
Yeah.
You can help me answer them if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, Lee, you're going to let this woman call you a bully and threaten to expose all the threats you made on her, and you have no response. That's wrong. I basically had a show on it yesterday. I'm not going to do a show every day on this subject because that takes away from this show. And then, okay, I'm going to bring somebody on I got to apologize to.
Hey,
how you doing?
Apologize. I hope you don't have to apologize to me.
Yes, because
I know why. Because
I had no idea you were starting a show at that time. I would have waited an extra half hour.
Don't worry about it. I don't know how to do those thumbnails. I joined that thing that you told me to join, Lee. How did you figure it out? 2 hours.
Which one did Canva?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. You know what it is, Vinny? The more you do it, the more you'll learn about it.
But I can't start the first time. If you don't mind, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Maybe you can walk me through it a little.
No problem at all. And you also got JC knows a lot about that stuff.
Oh, okay. Too. How you doing? Everything good?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. How about with you, Vinny?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Thanks for having me on.
I want to just one thing that's really upsetting me right now is this damn baseball strike. These guys are making so much money. The average minor leaguer used to get paid nothing. Now under contracts, if you're just a minor leaguer off the street, right away now you make automatically $100,000. It's not like it used to be,
right?
Where you suffered in the
minor. You know what? It's big business. Back in 2012, I worked for the Fresno Grizzlies, which at the time was the AAA team for the Giants. Buster Posey was here, and then the year that I worked in their sales department. And he got moved up to the Giants that season and just exploded even bigger. They make so much money from sponsorships, even at the AAA level with the stadium buys and the ad buys that we used to sell. We used to sell parties to big corporations, all kinds of stuff. So they make a good amount. And it's just, it's.
And most of these players, too, they also sign personal contracts before they start in the minors. Vinny, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
Does it bother you that, are you going to keep being a baseball fan if baseball puts us through this again?
I always say I won't, Lee, and then I'm the first one so excited when opening day comes. It annoys me, but you know what? I forget it real quick. You know why? It's such a big part of your life when you've been in it and you've always looked forward to it. It's summer. And it might be mad for a little while. But listen, I think the players are right about one thing, the players union. You go like 4 or 5 years under their control until you can be a free agent. So if you come out and you hit 40 and 100 for 5 years, you're making 880 and then maybe with arbitration 1.2. Guys are making 30 million. That suck.
But think about what you just said. They're bitching about making 1.2 for hitting a baseball. And having fun, they get money they get their free room and board from the teams. They get all these extra perks.
I think when you see a person though that isn't nearly as good as you making 15 million, and you know that in that 4-year period, if you get hurt in that 4-year period, you're done.
Not in baseball though. Baseball's different though. With injuries, the chances are in an injury in baseball, you're going to come back, say, better than basketball, because basketball is a game where you're running up down the court. Football is a brutal, hard-hitting game. Baseball, if you get your
not a pitcher. A pitcher should have they should have different rules for pitchers. Maybe pitchers 3 years instead of 4 or something. Because pitcher, you got to remember, you Tommy John in the middle of the season, you miss a year and a half. You missed that.
The pitchers don't even do what they did anymore. Now they don't go past 6 innings anymore.
Yeah, it's amazing now.
They got the bullpens, and these guys aren't even working.
Why do you think that why do you think that 40 years ago, Tommy John had this surgery? Now everyone needs it. Or do you think there were pitchers that were done at 32 back then that probably needed it and they didn't know? Like, what do you think it is now that
Well, I think a lot of these guys were injured and just kept playing. Like when Lou Gehrig, when Lou Gehrig died, I mean,
that's a good one.
he had so many injuries to his body that he played through for those 2,100 games.
Yeah.
I mean, he was battered. I mean, he had broken bones he played with. He just kept playing.
See, now I think an elbow injury isn't as bad as a shoulder injury. It seems like you never come back from a shoulder injury, even now as a pitcher, the same. Elbow injuries a year. Look, John Smoltz had it twice. Had 300 saves, at 250 win. You usually come back from that surgery. You're wasting a year and a half. But
the only problem I find with you, Vinny, is that you're a Met fan. And
do you like Texas at all? Texas Rangers or Houston?
I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a Giant fan. I'm
You
a
don't follow
New York fan.
Being in the state, you don't follow it at all?
No, my second team would be Green Bay. My first team would always be the Giants in football. In baseball, I never will take anybody over the Yankees, period.
Oh, you were from New York, so yeah. You were.
And I grew up, taking the subway, I lived at the Mount Vernon on the edge of the right there of the Bronx. I'd get on and take the number 4, switch over and take it over to Yankee Stadium. But I would do that continuously, and I would sit in the bleachers. It was $1.50 back then. I would sit in the bleachers. Yeah. I would skip school every other day, and me and my friend Jay was a big Met fan.
Oh,
so
really?
I used to force him to go to Yankee games, and then he tried to force me to go to Met games.
That wasn't happening. Did you ever go to the Mayor's Trophy game back when they had those?
Oh yeah, the first game I ever seen? It was 1972. I was 12 years old, and it was the Mets playing the Cubs, and the Cubs had at first base my favorite player, Joe Pepitone.
Really, in 72?
Remember Joe Pepitone?
Glenn Beckert, all those players, right?
Yeah, and the first. I was a big fan of Bobby Mercer. I never seen him hit a home run with the Yankees, but I went and seen the Mets play Chicago, and I finally seen Bobby Mercer with the Cubs. But that's we're talking a different era when baseball was a totally different thing. We could love a player.
75, Lyman Bostock and Larry Heisel, or 76, signed free agent contracts. They got $1 million apiece.
And look at poor Lyman Bostock. People don't realize what a great player he is and what a tragic death his was.
He was a great player.
He was just an innocent guy in the back of the car. And it was in
Angels?
He was in that town, and I can't think of the name of the town. But he got shot in the back. He was in the back seat. He was just driving, and his whole career was over. He didn't hit 30. He was just coming into the prime of being a great player, and he gets murdered.
I read an article that he had a terrible season the first year on the big contract. He offered the owner some money back.
Well, he was classy.
Lyman Bostock was a good man.
And, it was just – and a lot of these players now that get in trouble, they're doing it because they're out 4 o'clock in the morning. If you're out 4 o'clock in the morning, you're going to find trouble, especially if you're in clubs.
Well, the Met relief pitcher back in 2006, I forget his name, they were in Miami or whatever, and at 3 a.m, they said he went out to eat. The cab had an accident. He hurt his shoulder. He was a really good relief pitcher for the Mets. I said, what's he out at 3? He was on his way to South Beach. The cab driver admitted it. After he said, we were going to get food. And, 3 a.m, you got a 1 o'clock game the next day. When I bounced the shout, Keith Hernandez was in there till 3 a.m, had a 1 o'clock game the next day. Some pitchers were. They practically had to be carried out drunk as hell. You're back, like you said, now with this social media, it would be all over Twitter, him in the club dancing at 3 a.m. Back then in the 80s, you didn't have that.
Hey, we got someone in the waiting room that the last time I heard him say anything about me, it was F. Lee.
It was F. you.
Now, do you mean F. Lee Bailey? I don't know. Was it F. Lee
J.M.? Is that his initials? J.M.?
Well, he's kind of short, dorky looking.
Here we go.
But I'm in a position. He has a Yankee uniform on, so he's a fellow Yankee.
Joey the Hat.
Hey, let me tell you one thing. The best night, as much as I don't like the Mets, the one night that I always remember, I lived in Flushing, Queens, when they were playing the year they won the World Series.
No,
and I'll never forget that night because I was rooting for Boston, and I hate Boston, but I'm a Yankee fan. I didn't want the Mets to win. Yeah. And I remember when that ball went through Buckner's legs, the city shook. I don't know if you remember that. The buildings shook. people were just like, it was the most unbelievable feeling that you would ever feel.
Now, you hating Boston as much as a Yankee fan generally does, you'd still rather Boston win the World Series?
Well, you know what it was, because my friend Jay and I, we were friends as little boys, and we always had this competition. He was a Met guy. I was like, I remember one time he seen a batting line. He was looking at a batting lineup, and it had Rusty Staub, and it was a horrible batting lineup.
Yeah.
And then Jay's looking at it, going, "Look at that fucking lineup." Oh.
Yeah, right.
But Harrelson,
Met fans, Buddy Harrelson, the 230 hitter.
But that's a Met fan. That's a Met fan. As bad as the Mets were, and let's face it, the Mets were, they had a couple great years, but in general,
Lee, everybody says that the greatest moment in baseball is always based around their team. For me, it's Kirk Gibson hitting that home run as a Dodger, limping around the world. That shook all of the West Coast for a bit. That moment. You guys, everybody, almost every baseball fan
limping,
knows.
Right? He was limping. He limped
when
up to
Kirk Gibson came into the game and 3-2 knocks it out the park to win it for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Joe, what are you doing?
Signed by Darryl Strawberry.
Oh, I thought that was you were showing me a roll of toilet paper.
I know he was showing off Coke straws. Coke straws. Here's one from Daryl.
And I got Mike Torres's signature. What happened was, I'm a Yankee fan, but all my uncles, they were all Met fans. So I went to like 150 Met games and not a lot of Yankee games. So I guess I don't know. I'm going to Shea Stadium as a Yankee fan. That's tough sledding, if you know what I mean.
It's funny though. But I remember when I went to one Met game, it was when the San Francisco Giants were playing the Mets, and Dwight Gooden struck out 19 players in that game, some crazy amount. Mm-hmm. And I was watching the game from the stands, and I was hoping that they would get a hit. And then when Chili Davis finally got a hit and broke up his no-hitter, I was cheering. And all the Met fans were looking at me and like, holy shit. But that was history. Dwight Gooden had a chance of throwing a no-hitter.
Would you have ever believed, Lee, if I told you that Mitchell, Strawberry, Gooden, never Hall of Fame? Would you have said one of those would have gone in the beginning of their careers? Sometimes
it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
I thought it would have been Strawberry, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and Strawberry was a great player, whether you like them. What it is? These guys, they got to get this straight. If you look at Ty Cobb, was probably one of the worst humans that ever lived.
Yeah.
And he got in the hall on the first year.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
And then you look at a guy like Lou Gehrig, that was total class. And a guy like that dies so young.
Yeah, that was terrible.
And then you got Ty Cobb becoming a multi-millionaire.
Gehrig and Ruth didn't get along, right? Because I heard that Ruth cried on that field and said, one of my worst mistakes was not being.
And isn't it crazy that Lou Gehrig fucking died of Lou Gehrig's disease? What are the odds of that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tommy John had Tommy John surgery.
I watched part of the Yankees again yesterday because it's such a great movie. It was way before its time.
That was a great movie.
And could you imagine? Did you think that guy would ever think that disease was going to be named after him?
Right.
That was as great of a ball player as he was. And
you're right.
His stats are untouchable. His stats are, if you look at his stats, they're like, wow. And
whose stats?
Gehrig's
stats.
Yeah. I mean, he had 185. He had 185 RBIs one year.
His numbers are crazy. Yep.
Yeah, and it's still a record. No first baseman has ever had as many RBIs in their first 10 seasons as Lou Gehrig.
Lee, you know who I think is very underrated? I know people, Stan Musial.
Oh, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame.
But they never used his name with all the greats, right? But Stan Musial was great.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's where you play too.
Yeah, true. St. Louis, you're buried in St. Yeah, that's true too.
Look at Tom Seaver, was probably the greatest pitcher I ever seen, but because he played such a long career with the Mets, how many games did him and Carlton, two of the greatest pitchers ever? They played for horrible teams.
You know who Carlton
was traded? Ryan too.
Yeah. You know who Carlton was traded for? when he was with the Cardinals?
A bag of bat and balls.
Rick Wise. Now, how hard do you think Seaver threw in his prime?
Probably 95, but he knew how to. He was like Maddox.
He
They
knew
threw
that,
hard enough,
right?
but they were great pitchers.
He wasn't
Maddox. They just knew how to pitch.
Yeah, Greg Maddox was unbelievable.
That guy.
He'd have a complete game, 79 pitches.
He'd throw 88, Greg Maddox. Greg Maddox is actually from Vegas.
When he came up with the Cubs, he was about 94, I think, Joe, when he came up. I think Seaver probably hit 97 on his good day.
Nolan Ryan was over 100 at one point.
Nolan Ryan, there's no doubt Nolan Ryan was the greatest pitcher ever. You don't throw 7 no-hitters and not be the greatest pitcher
Lee,
ever.
I read he was a high school coach in Texas. At 45, he threw 94 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, you
And
know
at
what?
45, he whooped Robin Ventura's ass.
Remember that with the headlock? Yeah. But you know what's funny though? There was this thing on YouTube where Maddox dressed up as an old guy, and these college guys came on to hit against him. They didn't know who it was. He was in his 50s, and these guys couldn't touch him.
Really?
And they were like fouling everything. They were hitting the ball, but they were fouling everything off.
Well, I was wondering, you think Mariano now, if he worked out, could get anybody out?
Mariano.
What?
He was picked.
If he what?
If he worked out now.
If he was playing now?
If he worked out, came back now.
Oh, at his age.
Yeah, you think
I don't know about
He's
that.
50. He's 53,
So
54.
what would he throw? 83 miles an hour now, probably 84.
If that. But the problem is it would be location, and I just think when you don't pitch for 10, 12 years, you
I
lose
want to
that.
answer this. Baseball is a boring game, Lead. Everybody knows that. No, baseball is probably the most exciting game there is.
You see something different every time you
Yeah.
go. I don't care how many games you go. You'll see something different in a baseball game.
Yeah, remember they play 162 games a year, so they, and they still, a lot of these teams still sell the stadiums out every night.
Bobby Hoheater told me that come mid-July to September, every pitcher is in a tremendous amount of pain. He said, your shoulder is killing you by August. I don't care if you're 22. He goes, and you got to get past that. And then in September, the weather is cooler. He goes, I used to lose 10 to 15 pounds during the season. And
Hey, we got a question here for JC. JC, what's your opinion about the crisis in Ukraine?
You should have asked me that question.
Basically, back in the day, when the Soviet Union broke down, there was a promise made that the Ukraine would never be part of NATO. And basically under Bush and Obama, they started pressing the issue, and now we're here. And essentially, it's sort of like, imagine if you have a neighbor you don't like, and some dude that lives across town arms your neighbor to the teeth with weapons pointed at your house, your windows, and everything. What are you going to do? And effectively, that's what it is, except on a global level. And what'll happen is he'll just handle walking into the 2 separatist regions, and nothing will be done about it at all. And big whoop, who cares? We just came off.
No, he's not going to. Yeah,
humiliating defeat in Afghanistan. It's over for it. There's not going to be any war or whatever with them.
We don't need any of our American soldiers dying.
It is what it is.
Right, totally right.
I'd like to say one thing. Do people realize this? When Ukraine ran their last election, when the election was over, the guy that won the election locked up everybody that ran against him. And they're still in prison to this day. So are we going to go help Ukraine, who locks up people running against the president?
The question
Lee, can I respond to anti-manipulator?
Yeah.
Before you come on and start saying things, learn how to spell.
Who said
Good
that?
perk. Good perk. You think America could beat the Russians in a war?
Of course.
I know.
America. Do you realize America's Navy is bigger than every Navy combined in the world?
The problem is we don't use our military might. Look at what happened over in Afghanistan. Right. We should have turned it into fucking a crater.
It's even out of control that discussion is even on the table. And the reality is that a lot of parts for U.S. military machines are made in China. So and then there's a lot of banking across the nations and stuff. The reality is that there's a lot of intertwined economy between all these countries.
And what's
any one country could pull back some kind of a product and wreck the other country's ability to be in a war. So
what's the one thing America does?
It's not us versus a third world nation, or Russia versus a third world nation, or China versus a third world nation. This stuff intertwines. And look, it's a distraction by Biden. It's not actually a situation that's going to lead to a real war right now.
Yes, JC, let's say.
Go ahead.
Let's stop saying it's that Joe Biden's doing anything. Joe Biden's not guilty of nothing. Joe Biden doesn't know where.
Yeah, he's effectively just a figurehead. He's just a figurehead.
He's not even a figurehead. He's
a old
man.
He's a figurehead. There's idiots that look up to him still. Okay. Like 30% of America is that dumb right now.
Let me finish. Okay, he is. Okay, if you look at this guy, he's an old man being bought out on the stage. His wife is guilty of what they're doing to him. This is very sad what they're doing to him.
Elder abuse.
Yeah, he knows nothing. If you look at all his policies from 10, 15 years ago, they're nothing what he's doing now. Nothing. He was pretty much.
He has a lot of cringy moments going way back, though. If you hear his comments on immigration from 20 years ago and replacement stuff, it's very bad stuff. The guy has always been a tool. Delaware's the place where all the banking industry is out of. Actually, most credit card companies, if you look where you pay your bill, it's in Delaware, which is what he represents. That's his number one goal.
Let me ask you a question.
All of his career.
JC, let me ask you a question. Do you really think that Biden understands anything going on right now?
Of course not, but that's irrelevant because again, he's just a
he does.
He doesn't. He doesn't even know where to walk.
Guys, yeah, I agree with Lee on that he's out of tune. But the fact is, he was already a nut before he went into this zone. When you look at the nonsense that he's spewed out for the last 20 to 30 years, he's been wrong on almost every issue. So
without a doubt,
matter
of fact, people have to remember
he does it deliberately because he gets paid off.
JC, I believe that they had all intentions of removing him and putting Harris in, and her popularity is so bad that they can't do it.
Well, she was bought off here in California. Yeah, she has her own history in my area. I remember when she was a nobody, and she was coming to grassroots groups back in the day in our state trying to get her initial support out of the San Francisco area. And it was just cringy as well. You could tell she was full of it. And she got elected as attorney general by the banks as well. And her biggest thing was she did not go after anybody who scammed the real estate system in 2006 or the big market crash. She did not prosecute any of them. And that, whereas her opponent, who was a Republican, was going to, and they poured all their money into her. And she's been bought off since that point, pretty much. She at one time was she's not stupid by any means.
No,
she's a competent woman.
1 second, guys. I want to get the people in here also. I don't want us to take up all the. Okay, Lucky says, and this is a great point. Lee Cole, do you believe Russia and China could be allies? They always historically antagonized each other. You're absolutely right. They can't. No way. They can't be.
They work together when they need to.
Let me finish, Tracy. They're just making every. This is all the media trying to say this. There are two different type of societies. China ain't going to go up. All we have to do as a society, all we have to do is say to Japan, okay, arm yourself, Japan. Go take care of China. Japan brutalized China. China fears Japan. And Japan's building up their weapons again. And Japan has such a hate for China. And China has such a hate for Japan. They can very easily take care of China.
Well,
Lee, I don't want to talk
they work together when they can, and they don't when they don't. The Russians and Chinese have a border issue, in the northeast corner of Russia and China, where their border is. But at the same time, though, their old communist system did work together, But you have moments where they split if China's foreign policy is better suited for them versus something the Russians need to do. Then you'll see them go one way or another. But yeah, it's just, and with Japan, I don't know either though, because they don't have a young population anymore. They are a very elderly population after losing so many people in World War II.
Okay.
It's caught up to them, demographics.
Okay. And also we have to remember that China has a real big problem in the border with India. I mean,
that's another one. You're right. That's a lot of
you know, nothing's the way our media is going to make everything look like this big, horrible shit going on. It's happening all over the world.
This world has changed so much, Lee. You know, back in the day, Russia knew we weren't attacking them. We knew they weren't attacking us. You got to have an enemy. That's what it is. But I'll tell you what, I don't want to go into I don't want to get your strike here. But
I'm not going to. No. You know, listen, this is the problem, Vinny. Everybody uses that line. I don't want to get into what are we not allowed to talk? Or we got to.
No, I guess that's your chat. I don't want to do anything.
No, we're not saying anything.
He got my show taken down with his comment. We owe him one.
The thing that got me really annoyed was that it was proven that the leader of China purposely did not tell us for a month, sanctioned his scientists, and all we did was destroy Donald Trump.
That's it.
How come I never heard about that guy doing that?
Nothing. But you know, the funny thing is, everything that's going on right now, all it's doing is making people realize that Donald Trump was a lot better than people think he was.
Absolutely.
Because nothing was the border at that time. Mexico has agreed with Trump. Will stop the people from coming in. It was done. They purposely opened the borders up to destroy this country. There's no doubt why this is all being done.
Do you think this would be happening with the war and all that if Trump was still in office?
Oh, absolutely not. None of it would, because
Afghanistan would.
Here's what a regular country would do. They would go to Donald Trump and say, Donald Trump, can you go over and meet with Putin and stop this thing from happening? That's what we should do. We used to do that.
Well, look, you know what? If the far left neoliberals hadn't gone after Trump with the fake Russia thing, we would already be in a position right now where Putin would be largely cooperating with us, because there was a moment where things were going to thaw out. And what did they do? They created that fake Russia nonsense, which we know is complete bullshit now. And they kept Trump from being able to work with Putin on a whole bunch of issues, from Iran to Afghanistan to a bunch of other stuff.
Okay, give me a second. Tommy Stiggs, laugh out loud. What time is the political portion of this segment wrapping up? See, Tommy, that's the problem. Too many people think like you.
And the problem with that is this shit's going to affect us more than you think.
Yes.
Gas price, watch what's going to happen. We're going to be in trouble.
It just cost me $50 to fill up the tank of gas.
And Tom wrote that Putin will cooperate, then stab us in the back. That's not the point. We're not supposed to trust him like a friend. You do what Reagan said, which is trust but verify. You work with them. Trump was not going to just hand Putin everything he wanted, whatever. But we would not have had a crazy situation like we have today if the far left and the neoliberals hadn't have gone after neocons as well.
So do you think that if Trump was president, Putin would have wanted the Ukraine?
What's that?
That's ridiculous.
He would never.
He would have wanted Ukraine and got it, and we would have did zero. That's the thing.
What would happen is they would have worked out some kind of a trade deal with the Ukraine, and plus there's
trade deal? Putin wants that for him. He thinks it's Russia.
Look, hold on.
Hold on one second, JC. Hold on one second.
Put a gas pipe all the way to Germany.
Okay, JC, hold on one second, please. Okay, Joe, I understand what you're saying, but Trump was in office for 4 years, and they never did anything to the Ukraine.
Okay, so what does that mean?
What I'm trying to tell you right now, no, Putin would not have gone into the Ukraine.
No, there would be a deal.
The president.
There's a lot of money to be made with their gas line going to Germany. They feed Germany most of their heating for all of the winter there. And so it has to go through the Ukraine. So they could have both been benefiting. And Trump would have worked that out. And if he had,
he would have worked it out. He would have said, "Okay, you have Ukraine now." He would have gave
They
it.
would no.
Maybe
They
that
would
would have been the right
No,
move. Maybe
no.
it is Russia.
no. They would have
Joe,
both
are
made
you-
money off Germany.
Have you been liberalized that much by the state? by
No,
the state of New
absolutely
York?
not.
Because it
No, I
seems
just
like
know a
nobody's
piece of
arguing
shit. He's a piece of shit, Putin, and he's going to do piece of shit things. And it
Okay.
doesn't make a difference.
Yes, it does make a difference. I live in Texas. Nobody was coming across the border here 4 years ago.
No, that's something completely different. Now we're talking about, I agree with you on that. That's Biden's fault, what's going on. But this thing, I'm telling you, he was going to do it anyway. They were building up
done it.
years there. It wasn't, you
He
think
would've
they
done it.
just,
Okay.
you think they just sent troops over there, Russia, since
Hey.
Biden came in office? No, they've been fucking there
would've
for a
done it,
while
Joe.
now. They've
See,
been there for a
that's
while.
the funny thing. Everybody goes, they would be doing this with Trump too. Excuse me, Trump
Yeah.
was president for 4 years and they didn't do it.
But they were lining up.
They didn't line up. They backed down.
What
don't
was
remember?
what is
They
America
backed
gonna
down.
do?
They got
What
him
would
on the phone,
America
they
do if
backed
Trump
down.
was the president? We're
Hey,
gonna go to
it-
He
war?
wouldn't be doing this.
It-
He wouldn't be doing this.
It's not our business, anyways. Let's just say you're right. Let's just say you were right about that, Bay. Hey, it's not our business. That's sort of like if there's a border dispute between us
Okay.
and Canada
Wait a
or
minute,
us
See,
and
this is
Mexico.
what people don't know.
Okay,
I live
Joe,
in Staten
Joe,
Island. Staten
wait a
Island's
minute. I'm gonna get
90%
Joe.
Republican, so you
Hey,
don't know what you're
Let's
talking
get Joe
about.
going. Joe, I'm going to get you going now. Joe is a Brandon Schill, typical New Yorker.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is this,
Joe, I
And-
say we send Tom Lavecchia
Oh,
there.
no.
This will be
and
done.
you're a typical know nothing about New Yorker. That's why you got to get down with the NY Connective. We're going to give you a perspective from the NY Connective. And what you'll learn is everyone on Staten Island, 90% Trump supporters, Republicans,
Except
including
for-
myself.
except for Joe.
I'm just saying that this Putin is a fucking bum.
Okay.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
he's definitely not a good guy. He's not a good guy. So let's
You gotta
not get
remember,
that.
he's
not
a real
get it
mafia.
twisted.
He's actually a real mafia boss. You do know that.
Yeah. He's got
BBB.
it. He is.
He runs the mafia. in
That's
Russia.
his system, though. That's the way the Russian system has gone back to the Soviets, to the czars, bro. All the way back.
The whole cyber hacking thing, when did that happen?
As soon as cyberspace came into existence,
No, with Russia,
that's when it happened.
with Russia effing with us. When was that? Was that during Trump or no? They waited till Biden got in.
Oh, that's been going
Oh,
back.
okay.
for
They don't
years.
do nothing
That's-
against
no, what
America.
are you
then.
talking-
That
Now
goes
you're
back
blaming
years.
Trump for the cyber? When
No,
Trump got-
I'm saying that Putin didn't
No.
care who's in office. He's going to make moves no matter what. So
In some areas,
Joe, do
certainly.
you have your I voted for Como card in your wallet?
fuck him.
Uh-oh.
Excuse my language.
Uh-oh.
Watch your
He's a
language,
piece-
Joe.
He's a
seriously.
piece of garbage.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We agree there.
You got I don't know.
Okay, wait a minute.
Democrat.
Trump had an open line of communication with Putin. This would have never happened. Thank you, Diddy. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, open lines. All right.
Joe,
You
you're
guys,
so,
he's a bully. He's
Joe,
a
you're
bully.
so liberal that you can't think.
No, I could think.
Okay.
Trump
I'm
wasn't as
right
tough
on
as you
that
think
thing.
he was.
You know what's happened, Lee, to this country? China owns more real estate in our country than we do. They run every movie. Richard Gere is blackballed because he was friends with the Dalai Lama in China. When the Dalai Lama was sent out of China, they will not fund the movie that Richard Gere is in now. That's
And you know
why
what's funny? You know what's funny? You know
And
what's
that's a
funny?
smart move.
And you know
That's
what's
why
funny,
he
Joe?
doesn't act.
If you go to Netflix right now, the worst movies being made on Netflix are these Chinese movies. I
Right.
mean, there's so many Chinese, Korean movies on Netflix, and they're horrible. I mean, the level, they're just horrible movies. But, you know, Netflix is sold out. There's no doubt about that.
There's a strategy behind that with
No,
these
it's
countries.
It's
So-
cultural imperialism. They control the advertisers and the money people in Hollywood. That means you can control the content. You don't make the movie the way I like it, we stop giving you money for products and other stuff. It's
What
that
would
simple.
happen if
We have the far left has a cultural imperialist attitude on us, and China's definitely using that to their advantage, and I'm sure other places do it as well. You know, it's
China's making money
Where it's headed.
off of us. Okay, so what the sanctions that Biden's putting in place? Do you know what those sanctions are? Do you know what they are?
I'm waiting for you to tell us.
Tell me what the
I
sanctions
haven't
are.
looked at it. To be
You're gonna
honest.
tell
Okay,
us.
well, I
Tell us
looked
then.
at it. I looked
Tell
at
us,
it.
Joe.
No, go ahead. Go
What
ahead.
they're
I'm
gonna
asking.
do is
Where'd you
all
look at it?
these
Did you look at it in
Tell
New
us.
York?
all the rich
Or Lee,
Russian
maybe,
people that are over
I don't
here
know.
making a living, that are making a lot of money, okay, and there's a lot of them, they're freezing all their accounts because they want all these rich guys to go to Putin and say, look, man, you're making the mistake. That's what the intention of the sanctions are. So it'll crush the Russian economy. Now, if you think about China, China owns everything in New York, right? If they fuck with us and we freeze everything of theirs, they go bye-bye.
Look, there's no way to crush their economy because Russia is the number one producer of oil, period.
Number
Doesn't
two.
matter.
They're number two to America.
Yeah, they
Doesn't
were.
matter.
Not number one.
It doesn't matter. They can sell it on the market and bring plenty of money in. At the end of the day,
Joey,
the problem is there's a coalition against Russia right now. It's Germany, Britain, Australia. So it's more than just
China put two sanctions on two of our biggest defense contractors that we can't sell to Taiwan.
Well, you know what though? I'm just happy because my channel has a great sponsor, which is a sign that my own life is going good. Lee, you have your website. That's a sign your life is going good. Vinny, you are surviving despite that diagnosis, and you have your other stuff.
Thank you.
Joe, yeah, same thing. So no matter what, I always put it back into perspective. We've got some great things going for our, at least in our own lives, and that's the one thing we can all manage.
Well, I think we should have an intervention because I've been noticing, Joe, you're very angry.
Pissed. I'm so pissed. I'm just unhappy with my life.
Okay, wait. Armchair.
No, that's normal being pissed.
Wait a minute, Joe. Armchair said Joey is a low-key third Como brother.
That's unpacked.
Poor Joe.
And you wonder why I'm mad. You know why I'm mad? I started an Instagram page, right? All these, and I'm getting all these messages from all these good-looking women. They want to like, hey, Bay, this and that. And I'm like, look, who wants that? Who wants money, fame? I mean, I
think they think that you'll do with Derek Jeter and give them a baseball card after you're with them.
Hey, Armchair, if you want to come in, I dropped the link for you.
No, he doesn't want to come on.
Okay.
He'll be in trouble. We unpacked before we came on.
Well, you know what happened, Lee, also to the Democratic Party? They thought for sure Como was their go-to boy to win the presidency in 24. Well,
just goes to show
don't you think it's odd now that Hillary's coming out of the woodwork now?
Is she?
You know what? Hey, remember back when they were throwing that Michael Avenatti, his name out? There was a time the Democrats were throwing out names like it's American Idol tryouts. You know, it just
Hillary came around when they knew Como was shot.
It's amazing, but. You know, I think what will happen with Trump is he'll end up having to choose somebody to run because they're gonna try to tie him down with legal problems.
They will.
That's exactly what they're gonna do.
They want him distracted, and so he'll have to select somebody to run.
I'm going to talk about Sammy Gavano.
What do you think?
Sammy Gavano said.
What do you think? One
second.
Okay.
Sammy Gavano said something that really made a lot of sense. Sammy Gavano was when he was in New York and he was running the unions and stuff and doing a lot of shit after he killed DB, took over all his stuff. He said one thing, and I love the way he said this about Trump. He said, we sent a message to threaten Trump. Trump ignored us. And then when they wanted to go in and get tougher with Trump, they realized that his security around him were ex-policemen,
absolutely,
detectives and stuff. And so Sammy said to these other guys, we got to leave this guy alone because if we go in there and fuck him, we're all going in prison. See, this is the type of man Trump is. He wasn't scared of the mob. He wasn't scared of nobody. But people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. And the mob wouldn't even fuck with Trump. You know, that's, and people don't want to, oh, the mob, but they knew who to mess with and who not to mess with, whether people want to hear that or not. And that's from Sammy's mouth himself.
And listen, you know what? If it's from Sammy's mouth, it must be true because everything he says is spot
Joe,
on.
every response you give Joe is an angry response.
That's not angry. I'm saying it's spot on. That's angry.
Are you
I'm
going
telling
to,
the
okay,
truth.
Sammy was a rat. Sammy did a lot of shit wrong, but are you going to deny that Sammy didn't know about the unions and stuff in New York?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, forgive me if I'm a little skeptical on what Sammy the Bull has to say. I mean, I don't know. Why would I think that he could possibly be lying about a lot of stuff?
So because they're gangsters, they all lie.
That is probably true, Joe, what he said with that. Because you know what? It's not making him out to be a big shot. It's making Trump to be the big shot there. Sammy has an ego.
What he basically said,
Sammy's making someone else bigger than him. That's probably
what he basically said is that Trump had no fear of the mob because he knew how to deal with the mob, and that's what he said. And when they talk about, like, when the casinos went under in Atlantic City, what's one of the main reasons that Trump's casinos went under?
The real estate market crash.
But besides that, what happened before that? All his top executives got killed in a helicopter crash.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Remember that?
I don't remember.
The guys that were running the casinos were in a helicopter.
Yeah.
All his head guys got killed. That had a big thing to do with that. Makes you wonder why. You know.
Oh, Jeff Canarsi's in here. What's up, Jeff?
I don't see Jeff Canarsi.
Who's that?
Canarsi X Canarsi?
Yeah, that's not Jeff.
No, I don't think that's Jeff. No.
Oh, well, if it's you, Jeff, hi.
Yeah,
if it's not you, Jeff. Hi.
That's not.
X Canarsi said, "Why is Bay 8th being fictitious?"
Facetious.
Facetious.
No,
Facetious.
it was a joke.
Why? Because I was born that way.
Do you get hugged enough, Joe?
Tell him, I don't think so.
Does your old lady ever just come up to you and give you a hug and say, "I love you, Joe"? Which one?
Yeah, after she screams at me for 20 minutes, then there's a hug thrown in there, yeah.
Whenever you see an angry guy, there's usually a woman behind
He
it.
throws him a snack like a dog to stop barking.
He says, "Joe, go up in your room."
He's like a trained seal being thrown fish.
I'm upset for two reasons. One, I haven't eaten today, and two, I haven't taken my meds yet, which I should be taking at 4.
Yes, people, I know about this.
Can I ask you a question? You don't have to answer this if you don't want, Joe. And you're a great entertainer, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't think so, but you are. But I like to say, don't answer this if you don't want to. I know you're not gonna. What kind of meds do you take?
I take Zymbalta, and mainly just
Do you know how expensive that's in both?
and vitamins. The thing is, I take that because I have nerve damage in my right foot.
And it's very expensive, that medication that you're talking
Well,
about.
I have insurance, so I pay.
Yeah, my insurance dropped it because they said they wanted $800 from my insurance company. And my
You know what? That recently happened, and my doctor's like, "No, he needs this shit."
He wrote in,
and they pre-approved. They pre-approved it.
The pre-approval you need from the insurance company?
No, they said that they're not covering it anymore. So we're like, my doctor's like, "Nah, let me get in touch with them and let them know that you need to take this." So.
Okay, right here, Joe Cool says Trump was the only one to get concrete for Trump Towers during the concrete union strike, but that was because Trump paid a lot of money to get the concrete and gave the apartment to the penthouse suite to the union head.
And you know what? Hey, Trump is known for doing favors. There's still, you remember back when he first announced, people tried to say, well, you gave $250,000 to Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and other California Democrats and New York ones that are far left. And he said, hey, when you're in business, you have to give to these people. And when you give, you can count on them giving you right back when you need help. And that's true. He knows how to play the game. If they hand out an apartment, So
Thank you, Joe Cool. You're
Wait,
exactly
let me
right.
finish. What Joe Cool said, the mob extorted Trump. Yeah, because Joe here wants to make sure something's wrong with Trump. The mob extorted Trump, so they did mess with Trump, like you said. Okay, Joe, it's easy to say stuff, but do you have actual proof?
But here's what I have proof
no,
of.
he didn't.
Here's what I have proof of.
That's not
What I had proof of when Trump was building something, okay? Let's say he was building a skyscraper. Those guys, okay, could have done shit to slow up that project and destroy Trump. And what was he going to do? He even said it, Sam. He says, I could stop any building in New York in the 80s.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is they didn't. It's not like there was a mobster that sat down and extorted Trump to his face. That didn't happen. Francis said it's never happened. Amy said that's never happened. Every major mobster who's ever been asked about Trump says the same thing. So anybody if you're talking about contractors, yeah, you can have it. There could be a contractor tied to a union that's doing a major part or an important part of a project. And yeah, they could slow it up. But no, there was not somebody extorting Trump. That's BS for anybody who makes that claim. They're a liar.
Hey, Route Irish says Sammy fought for LGBTQ rights for all mobsters as well. You guys got some funny shit, I swear.
Do we agree that Sammy's goal is to make everybody in the organization a piece of shit? He's bitter towards them. He wants to give you the illusion that, it was dead, the mob. That's why I turned. John Gotti was going to throw me under a bus. So you really can't take anything he says about the organization seriously because he has an axe to grind with the mob.
Well, what you have to do is you have to take
Joe, let me ask you a question.
And then take the evidence.
Yes. Joe, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you have done if you're hanging out and then all of a sudden you hear your boss say all this shit on a tape about you and it's played in court? What would you have done?
You want to know what I would do? I'd say he's my brother.
But they weren't brothers.
But they were brothers.
No such
Here's
thing
the
as brothers
problem.
in the mob.
No, the problem is this, okay? You never... Okay, so my brother did something this week that he shouldn't have done. Okay? I screamed at him. Then when I got off the phone, I went to his mother and I said, your fucking son is a fucking idiot. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He better fucking smart.
Hey, watch it. Joe,
right,
you gotta
sorry,
stop the
right.
person, man.
But
okay,
we all talk about our relatives. We get upset. We say things we don't mean. So he said on tape, if I'm in jail, Sammy is the acting boss. Did he say that?
I don't know.
He did. Here, I got the transcript.
Yeah.
Here,
the Gotti. Joe, if you say he did, you don't have to show
I'll
me.
send you the book, the Gotti tapes. I'll send it to you, Lee. Give me your address. You can read it. It has everything in there that they talked about.
Okay, here's
On
what
that wire.
I got to run, Lee and Joe and Vinny. I got a good appointment for my business here, so I got something to do this afternoon. You guys, thank you for having me on. And I'll gladly go on one of your guys' shows, and I'm going to start having people coming on mine too. And the year's looking good as far as all of our stuff. We've all got, I got a good sponsor. You've got a website. You've got your thing, guys. So just stay positive in general, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, JC, and thank you for the nice comments. We text each other, and he's always a good guy. So thank you, JC.
Absolutely.
And this is one thing I like to say, guys. Here's one thing I like to say. People say, "Oh, don't talk politics." We've had 140 people here for almost an hour now, and we've been talking. And it's, there's a way to talk politics. We can't disrespect people.
Right.
And, that's what it comes down to. Joe, I disagree with you immensely on a lot of things. But you disagree with me. But you know what? You're a hell of a guy, and I respect you.
Oh, thank you, Lee. And you know what? I think you're a hell of a guy, and I'm glad that after our 14-hour battle ended, that we're friends now. So,
Yep.
thank you.
So Okay, one thing, and don't get me wrong about Gotti. I think Gotti was a hell of a man when it came to being a man. What Gotti did, I could never do. I'll be totally honest with you. Not many people could be John Gotti when it comes to taking his medicine. Like, I mean, how many men know they would do that?
Yeah.
But then again, you know, you had your Sonny Francis was like that. Joe Watts.
All the commission bosses that went and got 100 years.
Yeah. What do you think about this thing with Joe Watts when you hear that people say, oh, he snitched, but there's no evidence of him snitching?
Sammy has an axe to grind with him. So what is he going to say? I haven't heard it from other people.
I haven't either.
I would hear it on the streets. I would have heard about it. He's a rat. He's, you know, I don't. So, I mean, you can't say that. How can you say that someone was going to talk? It's either you sat down and proffered or you didn't. So which one is it? Right? If someone goes and sits with the FBI, that is a complete no-no. To the point where in the 50s, 60s, 70s, if you talk to a cop for more than 1 minute, people be looking at you like, what is this guy doing?
Okay, what do you think? I mean, Joe, here's another question. Vinny, it's not, I just want to ask Joe, and you can throw yourself in on this. The other night, the Chin's daughter was on Jimmy Calandra's show. What do you think the Chin would say to his daughter if he knew?
Forget it.
When you guys seen that, what did you think to yourself? Be honest.
I didn't see it.
I'm not knocking Jimmy. It was a good show.
I had no idea. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. The only thing I could tell you is I can't imagine a guy that would do 50 years in jail and die in jail, or Chin walking around with a bathrobe would want their family members talking about it. I just can't imagine it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it, but I think, you know, he probably, Chin especially, you know what I mean? He was, you know, what about the brother? What's his name? Vinny Esposito, the kid, you know what I mean? He's in, I think he might be, I think she's estranged from them. So I don't know what that whole thing was, but.
You know, another thing too, and you guys know my issues with Jimmy Calandra, but have you noticed the level he's brought up his show over the last couple, maybe the last month? I
haven't noticed. I don't watch him.
I mean, he's at 22,000 subs right now. He continuously grows. If you go to Social Blade, he's doing really good actually. And then lately, he's been pulling off some really good interviews, and he's been staying in his own zone on his channel, which is a smart move. He shouldn't be involved with small channels. Do you guys give him any credit for that?
I give him. Look, I have no problem with any of these guys, and it, you know, truth be told, I mean, you almost have to say, well, you know, he's one guy that said he wanted to change his life, and it appears he's doing that. So, you know, you can't say, well, you know, he was a criminal, got the get out of jail free card, got out and went back to the streets. So, I mean, I hear he has 2 kids, and he wouldn't have had them if he was doing 50 years.
And Vinny, let me ask, because I know you're a member of Pushback.
No comment.
No, I'm not asking. No, I'm not asking. Not that question. Do you think that a guy that ratted should have the right to rehabilitate themselves and get their life together when they come out, or should they always be considered a rat?
No comment. I you know what? I don't think about it.
Why did
you asked me a question. I'm answering you. I will answer this. Do I think anyone has the right to rehabilitate themselves? Yes, but that doesn't mean anyone has to recognize it. I have someone who is a girl who I knew who was 16, walks around with a beard now, wants me to call her a cabinet snowflake, whatever. I don't have to recognize what you're calling yourself. You have every right to call yourself that, but I don't have to recognize it.
Is it a good beard?
No, it's a pink dun. So anyone has a right to do anything they want. Joe has a right to show up here and whatever he wants. Doesn't mean I have to recognize it.
What you see, what you get, Joe don't give a shit. That's why I respect Joe so much.
And the thing is, nobody's going to tell me what I can and cannot do. Okay, one person, NB, she could tell me what I can and cannot do, but no one else.
And maybe Heather.
That's only because
She can't tell me what to do, and that's why she's always pissed at me, because I do what I want to do.
Joe, you would leave your wife for NB.
What, you was a father-in-law?
He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
I said I would never lie on YouTube, so
You see no comment, Joe, like I used.
look, I mean, maybe if I seen a picture of her, but I don't know.
Joey, so Joe, you pretty much don't believe the I like myth that she's a man.
No, forget about it. Look, if she's a man, I'm gay.
He's turning into a woman.
If she's a man, I'm gay then.
We started off politics, we brought it back to mafia. That's the show. Always got to bring it back to mafia. Okay, so I'm kind of interview you guys right now, and because you guys are straight shooters. So right now, what do you think? Because you mentioned something about 302s, and you, Joe, you just said that. So, and I know you're very respectful of John Gotti. So, are you saying that Junior sat down with the feds?
I don't know that. I don't know that he sat down, and I never seen paperwork or 302. Never seen it. So I don't know. Now, if he did sit down with them, okay, if he did sit down with them, I know people from his neighborhood, where he used to live, and if he did sit down and he gave information, even if it didn't get anybody convicted, the guys in the street are probably going to look at it that he cooperated. But I'm not calling him a rat or anything like that, because I don't know. I haven't seen anything. So the proof is in the paperwork, and I haven't seen it. So, I mean,
MB, young lady, I respect my guests a lot. I just asked them questions that sometimes that are different. I'm not going to kiss anybody's ass, just like they're not going to kiss my ass. Joe definitely ain't kissing nobody's ass. Now, Vinny, he's a nice guy.
I think that if there's a 302 on you, see, I don't necessarily think that anyone that spoke to a cop, because they could be in the room with their lawyer and a Fed walks in and asks them one question, non-related. Now, that person legitimately spoke to a Fed. Does that mean they were a rat? They might have said, no. The Fed walks out of the room and someone says, oh, he must have been talking to a Fed. They weren't in the room. They don't know what the guy said. To me, if there's a 302 on you, you spoke. It's simple. They don't put a 302 on you, Lee. Why? There's nothing to put a 302 on. If you spoke to someone, now I don't know if I was sitting with a Fed and I kept on saying, I'm not answering that. I'm not answering it. If that's a 302 because I sat and spoke to the Fed. You see, you don't know what was said in that meeting. Some guy might have been a wise ass for 20 minutes with the Fed, not asked a question, but he technically met with the Fed. See, I don't know where it ends here. If you had to give information that helped the case and that's a 302, or if the guy was in the room talking to you, so unless I saw that 302 with everything that was said, transcribed, I can't answer it. Because
MB must be having trouble with her other father. Okay. Okay. No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just asking you a question. The question, I respect both your.
Like if I walk into a restaurant and you're there with 5 guys and I'm friends with 2 of the guys, and I walk over to that table and someone says, Lee has no problem with Vinny. He was at the table for 15 minutes. No, you do have a table. You're ignoring me. I'm ignoring you. I'm talking to these 2 guys. Does that make you friends with me? It's the same premise. Okay, just because the Fed is in the room doesn't mean you said anything.
Jojo D says Junior did sit down, and that's why he was shelved. Now, you guys are in Brooklyn. You know that the life there. You know a lot of the guys on the streets. Was he shelved?
I think he shelved himself.
No. I'm not.
He doesn't deal with anything.
See, why is it that we're not? it seems like you guys are hesitant to give me a straight answer on that.
Well, because I don't know if I'm not in the mafia. I don't know if he's shelved. If I was active in the street and I asked someone, maybe they'd tell me. But I wouldn't be dealing on a level with John Gotti if he was a boss, right?
Then,
so how would I know if he was shelved? Now, if he was removed, then
but how about the fact too that our government literally tortured him?
They did.
Well, then you would think he didn't cooperate, though. So why does everyone think he cooperated if he was continually tortured?
Well, tortured, I mean, when you're being locked up and
but wouldn't they have stopped?
You can't leave your cell for 7 years. I mean,
but wouldn't they have stopped if he cooperated, though? What cooperators do you know that were tortured? Sammy Gravano wasn't tortured. So if they keep on going after you, did you cooperate? Isn't that the deal that they don't?
But you don't think that all these guys can be tortured? It's ways to torture people without hurting their body.
No, but if you keep on going after them, obviously, how much did they help you?
Yeah, but when they put you in lockup for 23 hours and they don't let you out more than 20 minutes,
yeah, that's a torture.
That's torture. I mean, literally, people have no idea. These maximum security prisons now are nothing like being in 23-hour lockup on Rikers Island or something.
No,
I mean, these things. They chain you up like you're Hannibal Lecter, even to go to the bathroom.
Unless someone sees a 302 because they're transcribed with everything on it, you can't say. Listen, the government will do anything. How about releasing a phony 302?
Yeah, they will do anything.
You don't think the government could, if they could plant bugs, they could put a.
They can do anything
to get you in trouble to make you turn.
How many times has the government said someone's a snitch when they're not, just to make them look bad on the street?
Isn't that the same as putting out a 302?
Yeah, you're right. That's why I'm just asking you this question. I'm not taking a side.
Unless I saw it and it was a legitimate one, how could you say the guy has a 302? None of us here have seen it. We're reading in the paper what's going on, and if we look at the CNN, every fucking thing they say is false.
Oh, yeah,
so
we can't even count that. How do we know? The boss says Junior admits that he did and Junior did admit he did a 302.
Oh, well, then he did.
It's just
this is all stuff that, everything is pretty much speculation. I mean,
but I think
was he shelved? I mean,
yeah.
I think maybe he wanted out.
Without a doubt, who would it? With the way they're handing out these sentences, who would
he would have been dead. They were not going to let up on him.
All of them. If your last name's Gotti, they're going after you. It doesn't matter what you did. And that's just the reality of it.
He's smart, though. Let me tell you, man. John Gotti Jr., everybody says he's dumb. Man, what he did to the government with that, when they recorded him, and he was like, the judge was like, he said he was leaving on tape, talking to his father. You could hear him say, like, it was just, that's what really hurt. I mean, they hurt the government, that they had to record that, and he played him, so.
And Steve, this is a great thing Steve's saying right here, Steve. I appreciate it. It says, look at what the government did to Willie Boy Johnson. Look at what they did to Willie Boy Johnson. They literally got him killed.
My dad loved him.
And the fact of the matter is, he thought he was forgiven. He should have known better.
Do you notice, though, that everyone involved with Gotti was put through the ringer? You have other families that were never treated like the Gotti family. That it reached from John Gotti. If you were involved with John Gotti Sr., they made your life a friggin' hell.
But couldn't that be John Gotti Sr.'s fault too for filming?
No, he was who he was. And the thing that you give him credit for, he never tried to hide it. He just said, "This is who I am. If they don't like it, fuck them." But
you know what? Talking about baseball, Vinny, the story about when Hoover was at Chicago Stadium, he got booed coming in, and this was when the economy was actually doing good. He got booed, and then a couple minutes after him, Al Capone came in and got cheered. And at that minute, Hoover wanted to destroy him. Hoover wanted to destroy him because Hoover was embarrassed that a gangster came in and was being cheered.
That's incredible.
And that's an incredible. So how did they get him? On taxes. They couldn't get him on murder. They couldn't get him on, and they put him away on taxes.
Gangsters are heroes in American culture, Lee. A gangster is everything that a guy wishes. If someone said it, he'd want to kill him. Everyone wants a Wyatt Earp. We always like to live on the edge vicariously. You go on. Why do you go on a cyclone? Because you think you're going to die, but you're getting off after 3 minutes, and you lived on that edge, and it was safe. Everyone likes to love a bad boy. Girls love bad boys their whole life. Girls love bad boys. Our culture is situated where what we can't do, we teach. What we can't do, we are enamored with. And that's what it is with the bad boys. Yeah. These are people that wear everything we'd want to wear, talk every way we'd want to talk. How many times you work in an office, you want to tell your boss, why don't you go fuck yourself? But you can't do it. These guys in the street will say anything. And that's inwardly, every guy wants to be that. You might not,
Joe, you just described Joe.
No, what I'm saying, no, okay. The thing is this. This is why you got to get with New York connection, because what he just said, we ain't on that vibe. Because if I look out my window, I'll probably see a wise guy before I see a bird. Okay, right. So when you live here and you know the things, you don't even really think about it. But you could respect people. I mean, these are great, but when you know people who know those guys, and sometimes they don't have a lot of nice things to say about them.
No, when I go to Ivoroni, and there's two of them standing outside that I got busted with.
I want to answer this question. Lee wants Bay 8th of Vinny to say something bad about Angel's family so bad. No, this is called a show. And this means I'm going to talk about whoever I want. It has nothing to do with Angel whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Did you hear anything bad here said about the Gottis? We're having a conversation. Nothing bad here has been said except facts. No one. Did you hear anybody say anything bad about John Gotti here?
No. Nope.
Did you hear anybody say anything about Junior bad here? Nope. So it's people like this that annoy the hell out of Joe. And this is when I can understand where Joe's coming from. Okay. Right. David Cameron, young generation can't take jokes. Jeff Nadeau is the same way as Scott Bell. Well, I don't know that. Come on, tell us a insidious joke, and they get butthurt. They label you a troll, and then you get banned. Well, listen, you got to be. One thing is, and you being, you guys know this too. You got to be careful what you say. Like when we were talking politics before, there's one thing you can't talk about on here, and that is the shot. You can't mention that word.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful about it. And
what's interesting? I read about that. They said that you're allowed to say if you got it, but you can't push information. Is that true?
I have no idea. I don't even talk about it.
It's better off not even talking.
Yeah, right. Because can you imagine working hard building your channel, then you get shut down for something like that?
It's not worth it. Who cares?
Then you got someone like Tony running around saying the most horrible things in the world, and he can't get taken down. It's mind-boggling when you really think about it. Or you got someone cursing and swearing like Joe.
A loser. An uneducated loser.
Hey, Joe, how much did that Yankee outfit cost you?
$300.
No, the jersey's majestic, probably like 100. The hat was like 40 or 50, no, about 40, and not much.
You know what's horrible about baseball now, Joe? And you too, Vinny, you're a Met fan. Unless you're rich, you can't go to the games anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine bringing 3 kids to a game. If you had to feed them nice tickets and everything, cost you $300.
Remember, you used to be able to sit in the upper decks and spend $100 for 3
and
people.
Sneak down. Give $3, $4 to sneak down, like in the 4th inning. Yeah, the ushers didn't bother you.
In the 70s, me and my friends, we went to Yankee Stadium for $1.50. We sat in the bleachers behind Reggie Jackson. And it kind of sucks that you can't look at the Super Bowl this year. All you had at the Super Bowl this year were rich people.
Slug is asking, could you put Slug's question up?
What does it say? I can't.
About me being on here because we pushed back.
Slug.
Slug
is a slug. He's a slug.
What's
What's
he
up,
saying?
brother?
Just explain what he's saying. I can't find him up
He
here.
said, how can I be on here if I'm what we push back? Well, I'll give you the answer. A, there's no informant on here.
Thank you.
B, I'm not with Lee. I don't know. Maybe Lee made it all up that he has a friend. Who knows? What I don't live Lee's life. And
Listen.
third of all, I do what I want. But the most important thing there is all the rumors that you have, that not you, but all the rumors that are out there that Dominic controls our lives. Obviously, he doesn't. I'm on.
And if you listen to Dominic too, Dominic says that he doesn't tell people not to go on shows.
Dominic does not tell anyone not to do anything. All he asks is if you don't align with certain things, maybe it's not convenient for you to be associated with this. But he never, and that was the thing with Tom LaVecchia. I went through this twice now because everyone thought Tom said, don't do that, don't do that. And then we went on a content provider show. Now, was Tom thrilled with it? Probably not. But he was not thrilled with it because he thought I was doing wrong. He's been on for 6 years. He has a little more experience than I do. And he said, it's going to backfire. And sure enough, he was right. So you know what? You're on a little longer than me, Tom. If Tom says something, he's probably been through it. I haven't been. So if he sees me maybe getting in a situation that he lived through and he says, Vin, I've been through this, I tend to listen to my doctor. I don't walk into my doctor saying, this hurts, it's this. No, it's not. What do they go there for then? If I have someone who's been through the wars with experience, like you have a son, you try to get your son through things you've gone through. He might not listen. I didn't listen. But the second time now, I'll listen. And that's the bottom line.
And what it comes down to, nobody has a right to tell anybody what shows. We have to make those choices on where we're going to go on our shows. And then the consequences, if someone doesn't want to watch, say you, Vinny, because you were on my show, then they really don't want to watch you.
And I just told you in a very nice way, I don't platform. I wish people well. I don't want them in my life. But anyone that has cooperated to me, I got cooperated on, and that's why my life was almost ruined. I just can't deal with it. I have two best friends, one's in jail, that Dominic happens to know, that are in jail because of cooperators. So how can I see these people in the face that I grew up with and say, oh, by the way, you know who I'm friends with now? And not that I'm scared. I look like an idiot. And you know what? At 60, I've tried to not to look like an idiot until I went on YouTube.
And that's the one thing about YouTube. If you decide that you're going to have a show and you're only going to have a certain segment of people on your show, you'll never make it. Never will you make it. Why even have a show if that's the way you're going to be it? Then you come on here and it's like, okay, I'm just going to have my show and I'm just going to have. I started with a certain guy on here and we were friends, and he has decided that he has totally left everybody, and his show has not grown a little tiny bit, nothing, because he made a choice. So it doesn't make sense to me why you would be on YouTube and you don't want your channel to grow. Me as a human, you'll never find that I ratted on anybody. That I know for a fact.
Lee, could I ask you a question when you're done? I'm sorry.
As you want.
So it's pretty plain for everyone to see. We know who you're not getting along with right now. Like, we know who you have issues with. Could that ever be resolved? And what I mean by resolved is where, not that you're friends, but like, hey, you keep your name out of my mouth, I'll shut up. Or is it just past that already?
I said that yesterday. You haven't even heard me mention that name one time today.
Right. So that's something that you would possibly be able to do if there was.
I can guarantee you one thing. There's a certain guy here that will never be able to do that.
Right.
And I don't like him. He doesn't like me, and it ain't never going to change.
Right.
So him, I don't really care about.
Right.
And if you're talking about the other person, sometimes you're too tough for your own good.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I didn't want to speak for you, but I feel like you can do that because you're a content guy. You don't need that to get people. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to say what I want to say. And if that person comes across my mouth sometimes when I say something, there's nothing I can do about it. Nobody can tell me that I cannot talk about John Gotti or John Gotti Jr. They were the heads of the Gambino family. I'm supposed to not talk about them? That's ridiculous.
Look, I don't know if Michael Franzese. I mean, if you're trying to be a podcaster in this genre, well, it's going to be hard getting guys that are active on the street to come on the show and get information from them. So
A guy that's active on the street won't come on these shows.
right.
It's that simple. They-
Wouldn't be active too long if he did.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to come on these shows if you're active. Yeah. Hey, listen, if you look down at the shows that have been dropped lately between us people over the last, say, month, my numbers compare to anybody's except for Nadu's. So people listen. Right now, we have 160 people in here, and it's what 3:30. It's 4:30 your time. And when this is going to get to 2,000-3,000 views, it's not a huge show, but people listen.
Nice.
Why should we take away from the people? No one's going to come into this show that doesn't want to be here, unless they're just idiots and they want to come here and like call me names. But I don't care if they do that because hey, you're in here, you're giving me
Anthony, Vinny, I love to have you back, but in the beginning you were very close to Jimmy Calandra. Well, I never had Jimmy's number, never spoke to him outside of the chat that he was on. Had to find his email address after 3 months. So if that's what you consider close, I don't know how many close friends you have, but watch your wedding party.
Do you know how many times people have friends that are rats and you don't?
And I'm joking, Anthony. You know I have no problem with you.
But how many times, if you live in a community and you're around gangsters, how many times are you friends with somebody that's a rat and you have no idea they're ratting?
There are probably people that I left Bensonhurst in 1990. There was a very good chance that 1 or 2 of them ended up gotten to a drug beef. Weren't wise guys. Were selling drugs in Cropsey Park and end up ratting on someone. That's not a mob rat. That's still a rat, right? You might have grown up with people that ended up turning and hadn't seen them in 40 years. I don't know.
Okay,
But
Tommy Stiggs, you said the mob general will fizzle out. You're absolutely wrong. It will not fizzle out. We'll only get. I remember when they used to come out with all these reality shows, and everybody used to say, "Oh, these reality shows are going to phase out." Did they phase out? The mafia genre. There's so many stories to offer to people.
But it's also the people telling the stories. I mean, if we should probably do this as a show. Like the 3 of us, let's say we have the same topic. Like, let's say we want to talk about John Gotti, and we all did our own thing, and then we compared notes. The story that you're going to tell about him is going to be different than me and my story, and Vinny's story is going to be different from you and me. So I don't think it gets stale if, because we have a different outlook on things. You look at things differently than me some of the time. We agree, sometimes we don't. So I think it could stay alive, but you got to get people that have a good head on their shoulders.
People watch each individual based on what kind of entertainer they are.
Right.
Unfortunately, I got started on this late in life, so I can only do so much for so many years.
What made you start this, Lee? I never asked you.
Because of Sammy Gravano.
Really?
I remember Sammy Gravano used to come on, and he would say these things, and they'd be lies, and they're lies. And so I said, someone has to do some shows and talk about this guy. So I started doing some shows and talking about the guy. And, if you noticed, I do shows now about Sammy, some. None of them are positive. Like I did a show saying Sammy had COVID and he was very sick. It got 12,000 views.
But that's news.
It got 12,000 views.
And that's news.
And then right away, people said, he's friends with Sammy now. Come on, Sammy doesn't have friends. Sammy has his family. Sammy's not the type of guy to have friends. So you can never say Sammy's friends with anybody. The last time I talked to Sammy Gravano, he yelled at me and told me he was going to put his foot up my ass.
Let me ask you something, Lee. Let me ask you a question. Straight out question. Anybody that you may be friends with, for business reasons that informed, would you have them at your dinner table?
It depends who they are. There's some people I couldn't. I would have a hard time. I like history. That's like asking people if they would sit down with
George Washington. Yeah,
Benito Mussolini or someone like that. There's a lot of people. John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde were cold-blooded, horrible human
A
beings.
gangster I'm talking about, a guy that was in the life.
Okay, yeah. It depends.
Well, you're looking at it from a business point of view.
It depends what they did. It really depends what they did. Sammy Gravano, I would have a tough time because of the Alan Kaiser thing.
Oh, so you'll pick an individual thing of what they did, and then you'll weigh it to what
Alan Kaiser or rape or something like that. If a gangster did rape, you got to really think about it. But if a gangster was just being a gangster, why don't you sit down and talk to him about it? The problem that bothers me about Sammy and Alan Kaiser is we know that he was involved with that killing, and he said that the kid ran at him, and that's a lie. It didn't happen. All you got to do is read when he gave his confession to the FBI. He didn't even put his buddy in it. When he did his show, he put him in it. And no one's ever heard me say opposite about. I didn't go, oh well, Sammy's a good guy, so Alan Kaiser doesn't matter.
The people that are in here, and a lot of them are very knowledgeable. I think a lot of push buttons. I was offered 3 months ago, maybe it was after my birthday, so 4 months ago. I was a guy that I don't talk to for obvious reasons, offered to come on my show, who has a big channel, and I declined it. And I could have grown from that, and I declined it.
But if you're asking me if I would interview Sammy, hell yes.
Not interview. Would you have Gene Borello over for dinner? That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, Gene Borello?
Yeah.
You know my feelings about Gene Borello.
I honestly don't. I know that for a working relationship, it could probably benefit you if you're with him.
Anything Gene Borello did in his life, he has to pay for. I don't have to pay for what Gene Borello did.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. He did a lot of bad things.
But someone with a 302, you're comfortable enough to be friendly with?
I'm not going to sit down with somebody because they did a 302. That's ridiculous. I'm not in the life. I'm not.
You're a civilian. No, I understand. You're a civilian. I understand.
Yeah, I'm not friends with a bunch of Italian guys that run around. And it's kind of funny. A lot of those Italian guys that run around and get mad at rats have ratted. How many of those guys? Joe Messino, he was hard. He was against all rats, and he did more damage probably than anybody in the history of the mob. Would you
now,
say
does
that?
Joe Messino rat if Gravano didn't rat and get away with it?
Exactly. That's a great point.
Most of these guys that rat, if they didn't see Sammy get away with it, if the one person that got rat, they found him in the middle of the street with a bullet in his head, you think all these guys would be ratting?
If someone came to you, let's say someone came to you in the 80s and said to you that Messino was going to be a rat someday, what would you have said to them?
Honestly, I didn't know of Messino in the 80s. I didn't know of him in the 80s, honestly. So I couldn't tell you. But I knew someone that was partners with Tommy Spiro, and I knew Shorty well. I had met Gravano. If you would have told me Gravano, I would have said no way. Just because back then, Lee, I think a lot of it was because back then no one was ratting. So like I met 1 million people in my neighborhood, no one ever ratted. So why would I think someone would rat, right? Because you say, oh no, these guys don't rat. You didn't think they ratted. Joe Valachi was like it was like a movie, Joe Valachi. No one knew of him. They knew the name mostly because of movies and stuff. But no, I wouldn't believe that the old timers never did.
Here's Tommy Stiggs being different today. Mob genre will run its course and be still. But Tommy, you don't do mob genre. You drink coffee and pose. So, and I say that in a funny way, John. I watch your show, Tommy.
Hey, two suck. You're right. I did serve a lot of drinks. Go to the news article, and they really charged me some bail for a guy that gave drinks, boy. I should have. You're right. I wish I had you with me.
The mob genre is huge.
Why does he get such?
The mob genre is just not Italian. Okay, you could go into the Mexican mafia, Albanian, Alex Rudai, all those guys, man. There's so much untapped shit in the mob genre. I mean,
and you never hear nothing about the Rizzutos. We don't talk about Canada, and they're still active. And we don't talk about a lot of stuff to do. people don't realize there's so much crime to always talk about. People that think the mob genre is going to die, you know what I would say? Didn't they say the same thing about the ID channel when it first came out? And now the ID channel is bigger than ever.
Oh,
It's a true crime. People love true crime. It's just,
It's like going to get stale when these guys say they don't want to hear about it anymore.
yes.
That's when it gets stale.
Michael Francis has 700,000 people watching the show. Sammy Gravano's almost pushing a 500,000. Come on. And you got to remember, as each generation is born, and this is where Sammy Gravano's taking advantage of it, the young people are listening to Sammy Gravano, and they have no idea what he did. And they don't even, so they'll defend Sammy Gravano no matter what. Oh, I love his story. You don't ever, and then Sammy gets to tell his version of why he ratted. And that's what's happening right now. Would you guys say that pretty much? That he's telling his version, and the people older, and as the older people die out and Sammy's dead, people are going to go to Sammy's library, and his kids are going to make lots of money off his library for many years to come. It's just going to.
If you just listen to Sammy and most of the guys that are cooperators, right? They're all going to tell you John Gotti was a piece of shit. Excuse my language. But I've talked to people, and he's a god. Okay? He did what he had to do. Mobster, look, for the 6 years he was on the street at as the boss, no one did it at that level. And don't tell me about the dress code, because the mob guy was always the sharpest dresser. The best looking guy. I mean, he's holding doors for women. The camera, the camera was in his face. They put a camera in his face. He didn't put the camera in his face. That's what happens. He was on the streets. He was accessible. Now, should he bring the 70 guys a week that he was bringing down there to shape up? Probably not, but let's be realistic. You think they didn't know who these people were?
And I like to say one thing, guys.
Yeah. Come on.
Scott Bell, he's a Lee hater, but I'm going to quit lying, Lee. You're on here because Vince kicked your ass out of anything WW Laugh Out Loud. Actually, here's the difference between you and I, Scott. Vince, his mind's going. He may not think, but people have walked up to Vince 25 years later and mentioned my name. You know what Vince would say? Fuck Lee Cole. Would Vince ever say fuck Scott Bell? I don't think so.
You know what's interesting too, Joe and Lee? No one ever talks about Joe Colombo putting everything on the map in 1970.
Yeah,
having rallies about the mob, having this and that and the other thing. Like, thou protest too much. There's no mob, there's no mob, there's no mob, there's no.
Johnny Roselli, Sam Giancana. Johnny Roselli was in Vegas. He was like a movie star. He was in Hollywood. Come on. Siegel, all these guys.
How about Joey Gallo?
Joey Gallo. He was hanging out with actors and actresses. It's all bullshit. It really is. Like the boss never gets killed. And where? Where does the boss never get killed?
Paulo did it, and
everybody gets killed.
The boss never got killed. Tell that to Bruno and him in his car with his mouth wide open and a bullet in the back of his throat.
And Joe Colombo shot in front of all those people.
Albert Anastasia.
Vincent Mangano, his brother, Joe Masseria, Salvatore Maranzano.
Oh my God. Okay. That's a bad.
Hey, the boss, would you agree that Joe Colombo put the mob in the papers because of all the rallying and when everyone knew they existed?
And remember,
and he's every day in the paper, rallies in Lincoln Center, having stickers on the bumpers. Remember, Italian American League stickers, the cars in 1970.
And J. Edgar Hoover.
That is maybe. It's supposed to be a secret society. When you keep on saying we're not secret and you're rallying about it, maybe you should just be quiet, right? That's what I would think.
J. Edgar Hoover never wanted to admit they existed until he was forced to say it.
Yeah.
And you got to remember when J. Edgar Hoover was there, that's when the mafia was at its absolute power. What would you say in the 50s and 60s? They were very, very powerful, and they ran everything.
There were certain things they didn't say in the 50s. They knew who was gay in the 50s. You would never hear it because if you said it, your press career was over in Hollywood. There was a secret society of that. Doris Day knew Rock Hudson was gay.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
my friend. But certain things were never talked about.
So
And
listen to
back
this
then,
one.
Those were.
So, July 12th, 1979. Do you know what happened that day? That day, Carmine Galante, Leonardo Coppola, they were sitting having lunch, and some guys came in there and fucking shotgun blasted him, excuse my language, and killed him. And he had the cigar in his mouth, the whole thing. Those guys, right after that murder, they get in the getaway car, they take off. Then they go down to the Ravenite Social Club, okay? And they're seen in front of the club, guys that were not with Neil Delacroce, Sally Fruits, Bruno, hugging and kissing and doing all this stuff. Well, what was that?
You know, Joe, you know what no one talks about, Lee? Everyone blames John Gotti, or not blames him, he did it, for having the administration, all his guys meeting at one spot on whatever it was, a Tuesday night. No one ever talks about, just like the car bomb for the Chico, if they ever wanted to wipe out the whole Gotti administration, it was Tuesday night that everyone had to come for that dinner. You had everyone in that club were at that dinner. If you
At
would have,
Calli's?
well, wherever they used to be when Gotti made you come down on Tuesday night. Do
The
you
Raven
realize
night.
if they ever
No,
got
that was
place-
Sammy's. Tuesday nights, I thought was Sammy's
So,
place. But maybe I'm.
Well, whatever night it was, do you know you wiped out the whole administration? If they were able to get just like Gotti did with Castellano, machine gun and guys did it, that they took their orders. You wiped out the whole Gambino family. The 10 top guys were gone. No one ever talks about that.
Yeah, but you know
Sammy
what?
used to have those guys come in his club every Tuesday. He even admitted it. He said that was the day people went there to see him.
Right. So could you imagine if you hit that club, you just decapitated the head. You got the underboss, the consigliere, and the boss. And probably a couple of good captains to boot.
But didn't they have people out on the street guarding the block?
What?
But didn't they have people outside guarding the block, making sure that didn't happen?
How many people can you have out there, Lee?
If you look at any of these social,
You see that.
look at Donnie
Anybody.
Brasco. Wait, look at Donnie Brasco. All those guys are, and all those guys are outside the club as all the bosses are walking in, and that's what
Yeah.
they do. They stay outside in front of. If you go to the Garment District back in the day, everywhere on that street you had mobsters everywhere. They watched.
You think the
everything
Russians
going-
or Albanians care about that?
Huh?
Yeah, but if you go to Sparks for dinner, you just have your new underboss with you, and you have about 6,000 in your pocket, and you know what in your hand, and what happened. So
And
Yeah.
a lot of these guys that get taken out, they get taken out because they let their guard down.
that's
You know, we could talk about Joe Gallo. We could talk about, just think about all the guys that ever got. Bruno goes and sits out in the front of his car. He has nobody, one guy with him, and he gets blown away.
Yep.
Joey, is that as stupid as the middle of a Christmas holiday, right on the middle of the street with everyone walking by,
That was
opening
brilliant.
fire?
Joe, that was brilliant. That was a brilliant hit because everything they knew. When think about it, they put.
How
four
about
guys out-
how about if a 6-year-old girl got killed Christmas shopping with her parents? Was this so brilliant?
We're not
What do
talking
you
about
mean?
that.
What did he say?
Sparks. He said, stupid comment I said about going after the social club. How about if a stray bullet when they're firing hits a 6-year-old in the fucking head right before Christmas?
Joe, that can happen anywhere.
Yeah, but
It
Johnny
doesn't
Canades
happen.
and
Not
those guys,
shooting,
those guys
what
were
happened,
hitters.
man?
They
What
weren't
happened-
messing that up.
What happened
No,
to Mad Dog Cole?
no.
Why couldn't they get him coming back to the mansion on Toad Hill right
They
after
got
that
him in the
meeting?
place. They got him in the place that he was most vulnerable.
Because
Never expected it.
Because, first of all, killing him in front of his house, his wife's there. I mean, I don't know.
And then his maid.
I don't know.
You know,
That was, look,
Yeah, well, yeah.
it was, if they would have killed him, if he would have got killed in front of his house, people would have been scared. But what Gotti did shook up the whole world, basically. And the whole world shit their pants, basically. Except a couple of guys like Gas and Chin and those guys. But for the most part, everyone in the Gambino family fell right in line. It was that's how you do it. That's when Tupac got killed in Las Vegas. There was 1 million people on the street. They just rolled up on him, shot him, and took off. That's how you do it. You get Joe Colombo, right? I mean, that guy didn't get away, but
Okay, this is a Lee hater, so we'll read it. I would like to see Lee, FBS, Tony, and Armchair all go on at the same time to see gets. That would make us stupid if we all went on at the same time. Why would we do that? Okay, here's how you judge it. What videos has the most views at the end of the day? See, Angelo doesn't want to mention that because she knows the answer to that. Now, I'm not talking about Tom, because Tom has some shows that can get.
Well, I can tell you I'm last. We can make sure of that, and I have no problem with it.
No, that's just an FBS lover that, you know, they're getting upset because my numbers for the last month have been better. They don't want to hear that. You know, they hate it. They hate it. Look, Angela, let's see. Really, I would like to see 2 weeks of Lee and FBS at the same time to see who gets more views. Look how possessed this person is with FBS. They're so obsessed that they're like, please go up against each other. Listen, he does his thing, I do my thing. I couldn't give a shit if he got 10,000 views.
I don't see Slug's questions. I answered Slug a few times. He said I wasn't answering his. I was. I've been answering people's questions, and I don't see Slug though.
Redzilla says I had a friend snitch on me before too. That MF was doing the same shit that he told me that he told on me for. Well, you know, a lot of these people that say they won't snitch, and I hate to say this, people don't want to hear this, would be the first people to snitch. Especially a lot of the people on these channels right here. You know, I wouldn't snitch, you know, it's all BS. Nobody knows what they're going to do until the feds walk through the room and look at you and say, well, we're going to give you 50 years, or you're looking at capital murder. Can you imagine that if something, think about this. Sammy Govano literally got away with 21 murders.
The boss, go to Ridgewood, New York, put my name in, and you'll see.
Vinny,
2011, February 2011.
Vinny, stop looking at the comments, buddy.
That's okay. If he wants to know.
Look, because you know what you're doing? Anybody that says anything negative you're looking at, look at your supporters and recognize them.
I don't see any.
They're there.
Listen, I love negative people because as long as they don't go too far, I'll put up what they say and then I'll answer them. And I won't knock, like there's some shows you cannot go on if you say one negative thing about somebody.
Right.
You know, if you got the wrench whore, Carlos, and if you come on any show, Carlos has got the wrench and you speak about them. And this is why these guys that have Carlos as a wrench whore are crazy. Because Carlos is personal. He does it himself because he doesn't like people. I don't want any of my wrench people to knock people out because they don't like them. A matter of fact, I've taken wrenches away from people who get in the fights with people, and the next thing they do is they block them.
Yeah, I said something about your chat, Lee, and I was speaking to a friend, and I made a stupid comment, you know, and I made a comment, and I want to apologize for that. And the person that's in there knows what I'm talking about, so I just want to apologize because you know what? You're right, Lee. If you're going to be on YouTube and you want to do that, well, then you're going to have to deal with hecklers. You know, people are always going to say stuff. It's the way you handle it.
Yeah.
So
stuff they say sometimes is so brutal.
I mean, you know, like that's why I'm telling Vinny they're going to, you know, and I made a comment like I had no wrenches protecting me on your show, you know, but I still come on your show. But guess what? I come on your show because I want to support you and then you support me. And that's what friends do. So here I am. Or friends try to get your show taken down. That's why I'm cursing so much, but it's not working.
There is only a handful of loyal people in this community. Listen, we don't even know each other, MB. I mean, I always think that you and I have been loyal to one another for a long time. And I was watching some of the videos you did anti me in the beginning, And I was like, holy shit. She said that about me? But you know what? That's part of the game. You know?
Yeah,
Thank you, Scott.
I have 400 subs, and it's amazing the support that I get from people. Maybe they're lying to me. I don't know, but it's very, very weird, and I'm thankful for it. So
Sure.
I appreciate you guys. And even the guys talking crap, look,
They make you famous.
good luck. I wish you nothing but the best.
Me
Now,
too.
this one, MRE, so you don't think him recording phone calls then going on his channel isn't against the movement, not trying to start shit, but seems hypocritical? Hey, Slug, let me ask you a question. Gene Barillo has a lawsuit on him right now. Why does Gene Barillo have a lawsuit on him right now? Think about that.
T, I love you, T, and Amber Alert. Well, I don't love you. I mean, brother Amber Alert. I love MJ, though. And NB, hey, come on. Say less. And
No,
Rob
I
Lito.
don't see Joe say he likes any of the guys.
Rob Lito's a guy.
He's getting like Carlos. Are you going to start sending them flowers now?
What I'm saying about the 400 subs is I'm happy. I'm not saying anything. I think it's great. I mean,
You have all their phone numbers. As it gets bigger, it's hard.
I have 400 subs, but 500 people call me. So go figure. I mean, I got to get my friends to sub.
Can you do me a favor, Steve Gennaro? Can you mention him so he doesn't text me all friggin' night now?
Steven Gennaro is my brother from another mother. We got to get him laid, though. That's the problem. We got to get him hooked up. Seriously, get him off my back. Do you know any girls in there or any guys in there that we could get him set up on a date? Please?
Angelo Bardot. He asks some good questions. How are you, Angelo?
True crime is, hey, there's lots of true crimes in this world. That's one thing that will never go under. True crimes.
Yeah, true crime is a pretty big it covers a lot more than just, like when you think mafia, I mean, there's so many different, I mean, like I said before, nobody I know I would probably be good for someone's show in the background. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of guys that people don't talk about that people forget about these people and, they focus in on, certain people, but there's a lot of guys that, were like neighborhood superstars. You know what I mean? They weren't household names, but in your neighborhood, you knew exactly. I mean, I haven't seen anything on Nino Gaggi. He lived on Bay 8th.
But Nino Gaggi wasn't one of the little guys. Nino Gaggi was a pretty big guy.
No, but I'm saying he's not known nationwide. I mean, the Murder Machine book, that's one thing, but he was a very big guy, and
he died in prison, didn't he?
He died in prison, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the few that died in prison.
Let me just get this Slug here because I finally saw it. Slug, I haven't heard the recordings. I don't follow that stuff. I have no idea. Lee's a civilian. Lee's not a wise guy who was working in the street and then ratted out people. I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but I haven't heard any of it. And nor do I want to. It doesn't affect me.
Exactly. Hey, listen, I'm on here with a show. I'm not a mafia guy. Okay. And if people don't want to watch me, listen, if Gene Barillo can get over me recording him, do you think I care whether you guys get over recording me? I don't. Okay. Gene Barillo has a lawsuit against him right now because of my recordings. You understand that?
No, I didn't know Roy DeMeo. Never met him. Didn't know him.
Would you want me?
Had a friend that lived around the corner on Flatlands Avenue, but I never met him. No.
And another thing is, you know these YouTube people that are, anti-informant, anti-rat, talking shit? I just got a phone call, okay? And let me tell you, these guys are living some double life. Let me tell you, man. That's why I haven't done card shows, because I'm not fully sure if I want to move forward with this thing, because I feel like I'm treading into I'm dipping my toe in the pool right now.
Hey,
and
Joe Cool.
I don't know if it's a heated pool I'm dipping in or I'm dipping in a cesspool. So I got to make that determination
Joe,
first.
can I,
then I'll
can I
start
ju-
doing
Joe,
cards.
can I just give you my opinion on what you're saying? You're not going to be able to get your show off the ground until you have the attitude of, I want to do this.
Right.
Because every day you're like, you
I'm a
talk negative.
flip-flopper.
Yeah.
I'm a flip-flopper.
You just got to say, I personally
Yeah.
think you would do well if you put your effort into it.
I think I would too, but like I said, I just got a phone call, and the shit that I just heard on that 1 minute phone call is like, it's crazy to me. It really is. It's just like, seriously, someone did that. So
Oh, I got to hear this.
Let's be honest, as good as you guys are, primary reason we came here, it was our interest in the mob. Rehab Royal Hell, I agree with you 100%. I can't even question that.
yeah, man, it's like the people, they just have like the hate in their blood. I
Let
mean,
me ask you a question.
That's your quick,
Lee,
Yeah.
if I'm just curious, I can't use. Okay, say, this is just for, if Larry King interviewed Hitler, is he a turncoat, Larry King?
no, he's a journalist, so he's
Right. Right. So people go a little too far with what people do in their personal life. I don't know what people do in their personal life. I don't ask. Now, if it affected me or I saw it, then I'd have to make a decision. But until then, I don't.
Yep. I agree with you. My cousin is obsessed with the mob stuff ever since my grandfather told him that Angelo Prisco is our uncle. My cousin can't get enough.
Let me ask you a question on here. I'm curious. If any of you had a child and that child ratted, would you excommunicate the child, never talk to him again? I'm curious. For everyone that's asked all these questions, say you have a son, the son's in the street, the son gets in trouble. If the son's going to do, here's two questions for you. If the son is going to do 60 years, he's 22 years old, would you say make a deal? Or would you discommunicate him from the family if he ratted? Because you guys like to ask all these questions. That's my question to you.
Here's one thing that I want to, like, with the whole.
Well, that's very true.
All right, so let's say you were gonna, let's say you hate Sammy Gravano. You just hate him. You hate what he did, but you're a YouTuber and you're gonna interview him. What's the problem with that if you're gonna ask him tough questions? Now, if he's gonna come on the show and you're gonna kiss his ass and say, "Oh, I would have been like, yo, Sammy, yeah, I want, like Stiggs even said, he's like, yo, I want Sammy to come on. I want to ask him some questions. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it has to do with the host. You got to understand, if you're a YouTube personality, like you just said, Larry King, John Miller, John Miller was, putting the microphone in Gotti's face. He interviewed Bin Laden. He interviewed Yasser Arafat. Why can't a YouTuber interview these people?
Well, here's a Lucky Luciano. This is a great thing right here. Al Capone and Lucky Luciano were more flashy than John Gotti. Great point. Because Al Capone was very flashy. And Lucky Luciano, toward the end, he was wearing those big expensive suits too, wasn't he? Smiling for the cameras.
Benny Siegel. You see Benny Siegel? He was a legit good-looking guy. He was dating. Forget about it. Are you crazy?
Yeah, but
yes, I am, and we push back. Yes, I am.
Yeah, but he was different though, Benny Siegel, because he wasn't a head of a family. I think we're talking about the heads of the family. Benny Siegel, he was like because a lot of those guys that went out to Hollywood, they got involved with it because it was so easy for them to suck you in, especially when you start getting those women out there.
Right, but I think that the image that a mobster, if you said, all right, who was a mobster, you're not going to see him in sweatpants. That's not the look. The look is, a good-looking guy, dressed nice, pinky ring, watch, gold chain. They call it I forget what they call it.
Oh, the question to my son? No, I would not talk to my son again if he ratted. But I know I raised him differently, so I would not.
What, Vinny? What?
If my son ratted, I wouldn't talk to him.
Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what?
Now you're a real hardliner, okay? Because you know what? if I have a son in the next 8 months and he ratted, you know what I would do? I don't know. I'd have to see what happened. I don't know.
Well, the last time
I don't know. You're going to turn your back on your kid? I mean, maybe if my son got jammed up, I'd be saying I didn't do a good job.
Who is this boy? This boss is a real jerk off. Who the hell? That got to be right out of FBS's playbook.
Who's
If
that?
your son was gay, would you talk to him?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because no one's in jail because of him.
All right.
Okay, so but Brooklyn.
But am I saying that there's not a possibility that I could change if it's my kid? It's kind of like, would you run into a burning? You don't know until it happens. But what I'm saying is, right now, my mindset is no.
But you're not a mobster, and you're not in the mob.
Right,
So how
right.
could you
No, I'm
answer
saying
that
if he
question?
was. No, I'm saying if he was. I'm not a gangster. Never was a gangster. I never was.
I'm sorry, Vinny. Knowing you personally, I just can't see you not talking to your son because he ratted.
I would pray. I'd probably kill myself before I had to make a decision. I'm just joking. I just hope that would never happen. That's the best you could do,
This
right?
is where we are ratting. I mean, everybody rats, every type of mafia. I mean, ratting's more common now than not ratting. Would you say that's true? Most of the guys getting busted now are ratting automatically.
When I was 10,
Yeah,
me and a friend of mine, we went into a candy store and we robbed the candy store on 86th Street, Maddie's Variety Store.
Oh, really?
Okay,
Is there a statute
we
of
left.
limitation?
Not armed robbery. We went in there and took anything we wanted and left. Do you know that that person I was with dined me out?
What kind of candy did you have?
Slug, the problem. Slug.
Well, I didn't have money, and you know I'm a candy addict, so
I
you could Snickers. I took everything, but the point is, you know, is that person a rat?
How old were you?
10,
No,
11, 12.
no.
Lee, let me answer this to Slug. Slug, I have a lot of friends that are in the mob. I'm not a gangster. I grew up with a lot of people that are.
Slugs
So
is just
that's why I have this feeling.
Slugs is getting upset because he keeps asking these questions, trying to, cause havoc.
Well, I answered him.
Yeah, and I keep putting his questions up.
That's okay.
Hey,
I
Slug,
answered him.
let me explain something to Slug. See, if somebody went, I know which chat room you usually hang out. If someone went to that chat room, Slug, that you're talking about, and asked questions like you, they would be blocked right away. So you should say, Slug, what you should say is, wow, I can say everything negative and they don't block me here.
I don't block anybody.
And that's a mistake, Vinny.
Scott Bell. This is a good one.
Why is a
Good job.
mistake?
That matters so much. Now you could die a proud man.
Because you know what happens is you probably would have, when these people come in and they create havoc, it pushes people away.
Yes, Angelo. Got to do a card show. Angelo's absolutely right. You know more about cards than I've ever seen in my life.
Mob rats, I
me?
appreciate.
You keep saying that, Angelo. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know about, but the thing is this, I don't know if people are interested in cards. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been getting a lot of feedback. I mean, I would love to. That's my life, cards. It's not talking about the mob, but if you're
boss, I never got in touch with John Panisi. Never got. He saw my show by accident. Someone told him about it, and I never asked him to give me a shout out. I've never spoken to him.
Hey guys,
you guys really have to get your facts straight.
Oh yeah, I love
it. Troll does, but that's why a troll doesn't have a channel.
Well, Drino 5K. Just so I can tell people something, Drino 5K is a real big fan of the other guy, and I went into my chat room and I seen that he was blocked yesterday, and I said, I got to let him out, and so I unblocked him. And you know why I unblocked him? Because I liked stuff like this. Drino, MRE Lee has platformed the most snitches. But I noticed that you didn't say Lee has platformed snitches because the person that you like so much platforms them too. So you used the word most. Very, very clever, Drino.
The boss said I block everybody. I guess the boss just likes me mentioning his name. Just to be the last
You have Carlos in your chat room.
I don't block anybody. Do I
Does
have
Carlos?
followers?
Does Carlos
No.
have? Okay, because Carlos is doing anybody that's Carlos in their chat
He doesn't
room,
come in. He doesn't
he
come in.
blocks people for no reason.
No.
Okay,
I can guarantee you this, that if you, who's my biggest enemy on YouTube? Like the guy that always talks about me. His wrenches could be my wrenches.
Could be.
Yeah. That's what I learned about this.
Here, I like this one. The reality is, you are just a bunch of nobodies talking about somebodies, especially
They're right.
you.
They're right.
Let me finish. Especially you, Lee. You can't even pronounce Washington. Did I pronounce it? There are no R's in Washington. Isn't that a word? But Batman, you're still here. You've been in this. Think about this, guys. Batman's been here for 2 hours putting up insults, but he's been here for 2 hours. So who's really the smart one? You're still here, Batman. So you can keep insulting me because of my views. See, to me, you're a view. So I will let you stay here. They just don't get it. They don't get it.
No, they get it. They just want to be, I mean, we're not really talking about people that are complimenting you. It's, when we're looking at the ones that, Vinny. The captain is blocked. You got to unblock him.
The captain?
The captain's a great guy. He's a great guy.
I guarantee.
I'm sorry, Captain. I forgot.
I guarantee. I will, but I guarantee you this. I think someone else said I blocked him. If you go back to the video, I blocked you for a reason. There was no way I didn't block. Oh, no, honestly, no. In the beginning, when I would try to block someone, the name would go up fast, and then I blocked the wrong person. But usually that was a timeout. But if I blocked you, you deserve to get blocked on that. I don't block anybody.
I don't know.
You know what? These simps that are in from another guy's channel, go look at their amount of people blocked and go look at mine. And like you challenged Lee and him to a square off of views, see who has more blocks. There you go. I just gave you something to do.
The problem is you have people as a wrench. That pretty much gives them the license to block whoever they want. So the captain might have got blocked by someone else and not you. Are you the only person? Can you verify that everyone that's blocked? I mean, you went through your list and you're telling me I got 240 names.
The captain.
You have 240 names blocked. You blocked 240 people?
I probably blocked 30.
Oh, okay. So then what does that tell you? So anyone could be blocked.
Let me ask you a question, Vinny. Do you go in every day after your show and check your blocks?
No.
You should.
I have.
Why? Because sometimes your wrenches are very sensitive, and if they get attacked, they'll just block people that are your friends. Really? You got to always check up on your wrenches, always.
That's why I think it's best that content creators date their wrenches, if you know what I mean. Give me a call. That way we get close, and then you know how to protect them. You know what I mean?
Joe, I'm not on your screen. Does the Joe have a big red T in front of him, the captain?
The captain?
The captain. Is his logo a T?
No, he just says the captain. If you go check it, you'll be able to see his name.
Captain America.
No, the captain.
Yeah, he has a red T. Yep.
Okay, I just unblocked him.
Now you're on block. Hey, guys,
I don't believe I ever blocked him, honestly.
$50, send it to my Cash App. Thank you. I'm going to start getting people on. See, that would be a good racket. Get a wrench to block everyone and then charge people to get back in. You look like a hero.
It's me. I respond to people. I don't understand.
Vinny, here's an answer to what you were saying. Well, this is their opinion.
Let me
Johnny the Greek from London. No one had the balls to hit the club when the whole crew was there, all holding whoever tried they would have lost half their crew. 2 Starks. Starks was perfect. So they're saying that you can't hit the club because you would have lost half your crew.
No, that's just my thought. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'm not a mob boss, so obviously I would have got killed.
Hit the club.
I don't know.
I don't understand that question, but what's up, Johnny?
No, what he's saying is if somebody attacked the club that John Gotti was in, a lot of people would die on both sides. And I just say this. There were a lot of lower level guys outside. Their job was to protect the street.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's what I'm pretty much.
Look at that William Ciccone dude.
Well, let me ask you a
He
question.
took a shot at Gotti at the Berg.
What a
Is that-
horrible death he
Hey,
had.
is that more dangerous than going to Sammy, who was one of Castellano's guys, and saying, we're going to hit Castellano, are you with us? And they went on the lam for a few weeks before that hit because the whole family would have been wiped out if Castellano finds that out?
Yeah.
So is that risky when you go to someone else's guy? Gravano was not a Gotti guy when he approached him and said, we're doing this. What would have happened if Gravano ran back because Castellano was setting him up and said he's ready
Joe,
to take you out?
Vinny,
Or would have
that's
got
what
wiped out.
Vinny, that's what have could have. Any big hit that was ever pulled off was usually because somebody's betraying the boss that they're around.
John went to Frankie DeChico first.
Huh?
John went to Frankie DeChico first.
Yeah.
John said, and Frankie said, talk to him.
But if someone's going to tell me that John Gotti wasn't at the hit, I would say you're trying to change history.
So pretty much there were a lot of rats before Gravano because the Chico ratted.
There was
Chico gave up his boss,
rats since the beginning of time.
He gave up his boss. That's ratting. Isn't it?
Look at what Joe Bonanno did, another boss that cooperated.
Angelo, who's asking me tough questions. Lee, I can't stand FBI. That's I apologize for saying that you were part of that club then.
I'm looking for it. IT. I don't see him blocked.
Slug. Look, Slug is with Dritto. They're like a team because they work for
Oh, Bedrito's cool. I mean, other than the fact that
Dritto is the ultimate simp. Are you kidding?
Really?
That's why I let him out because I want Dritto to give me some of his garbage. Dritto hates me so much that he'll stay in here throughout the whole show. He doesn't
Let me tell
understand.
you. So I'm on Vinny's show last night, and someone had called me and said, "Yo, FBS is looking to dox you." He's
By the
telling
way,
me
Joe, it's not blocked. He says he's blocked. He's not blocked.
who.
IT. Slug is blocked. But
Why-
I'm actually going to unplug. I'm unplug Slug. I'm going to What did I just say?
I'm not going to unplug Slug.
I said that on the show, right? I said it. I said, "Oh, someone told me." I didn't believe it, but I just mentioned it on the show. Within 38 seconds, my phone was ringing. So that's pretty fast.
Well, the
That
spies
means
are in.
someone heard me say it and got in touch with that guy. Who was it?
I want to know people.
When
have
I
all
say
this time
38
about that
seconds,
show.
I'm lying. It was 15 seconds. I didn't even finish speaking about it. My phone was ringing. And I had to mute it and said, "No, I don't think you did that because whatever I have to say bad about FBS, he's not going to go after my wife or my family. It's just,
way.
that's not his thing." Now, I don't know anything else, but, not going to. I'll give him that much.
Okay,
But they're
guys.
listening, man. They're
Well,
listening.
I'm going to do something right here. Lee's illiterate. It's your awful pronouncing of words like Washington. You can't even finish a sentence without fumbling your words. Okay, you know what that is?
And
right there?
Octavia.
Wait a minute. You know what that is right there? Look what it says right there. Highest honors.
Ooh.
That's my degree. I graduated with highest honors. If you want to make fun of the way I'm talking, that's funny. You could do that. But here's my challenge to you, Lee illiterate. Come on here and show me your degree.
Here's my degree, Butler University.
Very good. Yeah, that good for you, Joe.
You guys think I didn't go to college?
Yeah, they don't understand that because of the way you speak and stuff. I'm not here sitting down with a bunch of snobs. If I was sitting with a bunch of snobs and stuff, I would be a totally different person. Here, this is who I am right
Of
here.
course.
It-
Right. I mean, I've been around the biggest businessmen and college professors.
I didn't realize you
Butler
graduated.
University's in Indiana. That was a culture shock going there. Let me tell you.
So, how long?
2016.
How long were you there, Joe?
I was there it was over 2 years.
Did you like it?
The only thing I didn't like was I was commuting back and forth, and I was doing like a week a month going there. So I had to get out there for a week once a month, and I didn't like to fly because flying into Indianapolis, I couldn't get like a big jet. I was on like a prop plane or whatever, you know what I mean? So then I tried driving a couple of times, and it's like a 14-hour drive. And I stopped in West Virginia, Wheeling, West Virginia, and like it was like country town. I never seen anything like it. So the commute was bad, but I really liked the whole atmosphere of college and the whole thing. I mean, it was really cool, you know.
I loved it. It's me. You know what? Email me now. I had a very big problem with my email. Lee, you know what happened? I have two phones. I had an iPhone through Verizon and a regular phone through T-Mobile. I was eligible for the upgrade with T-Mobile, so I took a 13. Because I had two iPhones fighting with each other. Is this really you? Is this really you? You're going in from another device? I got blocked out of my email, and they said it'll take 6 hours, and we send you an email to re-engage. But I couldn't get the email. I was blocked out. Finally, my son figured it out because I'm terrible with this. So, yeah, email me. I'll see if I get it because I should get it now. And I'm sorry if I didn't respond to you because I tried to respond.
Okay, let's go. Oh, we haven't read a Ramundi. Joe Bay, eighth thing is Lee doesn't want us to block people. I have your back, but I got to wrench the way he desires. We all support you, though.
Of course. I was out of line for saying that. It was just a bad moment, I guess, and I wasn't thinking properly. You know, everything I say is not gospel. So
there's people in here that used to come on my show and hated my guts, and now we get along great. You know, sometimes you grow on people and sometimes you don't. You know, you might hate somebody and then, you know, it just happens.
Yeah, and sometimes people grow on you too. So
people out
I'm dealing with it right now.
So I would make videos on people who, so just yelling, then I felt bad. No, you don't have to feel bad for me, MB. Okay.
If I wasn't married, I'd be calling Lee Dad right about now.
At least not Daddy.
I'd call him Dad. I call my father-in-law Dad.
Do you?
We're supposed to call him by his first name.
No, I figure you'd say the kid Heather's father.
I call my mother-in-law Mom too.
Hey guys, you know,
she loves me every time we talk.
If you think you're not liked, guys, you've been here. We've been since you guys have been on. We've been between 160 and 170.
Yeah, they're hating us though.
Huh? No, that's
you got 20 likes.
No, every show you have people that say negative things. The problem is that a lot of these people don't want to put up stuff that people say negatively.
The boss, I addressed it. You know what you should do? The boss, being that you probably really don't have much of a life, go ask John Panisi. Go ask him. There's your answer. You don't want the answer because you just want to break balls, and that's fine. You're allowed to break balls. That's what your job is. Probably your only job. But you know what? That's fine. But go ask him the story. Tom would know better than anything. He wanted me on his show. Ask Tom. He was his partner. And I didn't go on. So there you go.
Okay, let's see. Hey, are you guys bored now that sports is pretty much over? No baseball. Football,
well, I'm a big Ranger fan, Lee.
Who gives a shit about basketball?
The hockey, the Rangers.
I do.
Yeah, I love the Rangers.
I've lost. Let me show. I used to love basketball, especially college. But here's why I don't love college. I don't even like college basketball no more because now they have this stupid rule where these guys can come in after 1 year, so they can go into the pros. So what happens? You remember how you used to like Duke? Say, okay, Duke's there. You like them. You can't even get attached to players anymore because they're gone within 1 year. And the quality of basketball, college basketball, is going way down. I mean, way, way down. because these guys don't stay. They leave after 1 year, and they're not. And by the time they get to the NBA, a lot of them aren't prepared for the NBA. They need a couple of years of college because you grow up in college. I mean, and then you got these 18, 19-year-old kids going into the NBA, getting paid all this money. They're not ready for all that money. Not at that
That's
age.
why they should let them. That's why they got to do away with the 1 year of college thing.
I think it should be at
It's
least
either 4 years or no years. So if you, a lot of people not going to go to college anymore because what they're going to do is they've been signing like endorsement deals and they're doing like internships, or they're going to the D League, which is like the minor league of the NBA. They're playing there for a year because it's NBA level competition. I mean, you got to look at it this way. The level of competition in college basketball is nothing compared to the NBA level. So a lot of them want to, I mean, plus they don't make money, the players. They're going to make money now, but.
Hey, Vinny, here's a question for Vinny. Vinny, you know when they say, oh, these players play for nothing, can you tell people how much a 4-year degree at Duke costs?
I'm guessing 180.
No, more than that.
So they're
Probably
NYU
50 a
was
year
42.
at least.
this is
NYU
what I like to
years.
say. These players are getting these 200,000. Say you go to Duke, a $200,000 education to play basketball and go to school.
No, right.
Don't say they're not
Right.
making no money.
How much is Duke making off their basketball players?
And then
Yeah,
you're
and they're
sure to
giving them
get
a
a
free
good job.
education
You're
for
sure
it.
to get a good job if you have a Duke degree after.
A smart guy with these basketball players that go in, and not only do they play NBA basketball, but they get a degree and take advantage of when they're in. Like, remember, Patrick Ewing did not have to go back to Georgetown to get his degree, but he did. And if you listen to Patrick Ewing, that meant so much to him having his degree. And this guy was a multimillionaire, but he wanted to take advantage of his education. And people say Georgetown, they think Georgetown's a very expensive school.
Yeah.
It's a monster school.
I'm sure it is. The NYU was 42, and then the books are like 1,300 a semester.
NYU is 42 now?
Yep.
You sure about that?
Yeah, well, with a little bit of little aid
I
scholarship.
know Syracuse was 40,000 12, 15 years ago.
A little with like 14% scholarship. You also get an in-state residency. Like if you go to from out of state, it costs you a fortune.
Well, no, I'm not asking with discounts. I'm saying what's the average?
Probably 64 maybe. 64 maybe. Books are like 1,300 a semester now, Lee.
It's ridiculous.
Can
It's
you
ridiculous.
imagine?
And they don't even have to charge that much because the books are digital now.
The tuition for NYU was $55,000 a year.
Yeah, it's like 44 without the statement, and the books are like unbelievable. Like I said, 1,300 for books. You got 4 books, but you need the annex. What is it called? The annex guide to a book. The book is 240. The other one's 110.
Duke is 58. Harvard is 54. Wake Forest 57. North Carolina State 29. Notre Dame 60. Yale 60. Stanford 60. Yeah, it's a lot of bread. Guess I'm going to community college.
Hey, listen, you guys have fans. Angelo says, Magmood, I'm here this long because of Bay 8th and Vinny are here. And it's
Those
early.
tuitions are without room and board.
Let me finish.
Syracuse with room and board is $75,000 a year.
Okay, I'm here for Bay 8th and Vinny are here. It's early. No one else is on. I'm not here for Lee, Laugh Out Loud, and FBS and Gunsmoke are also boring. But you see, Angelo, I read what you put up. I like that. You're being honest. But you know what? If you're here and watching my show for 2.5 hours, that makes you pretty dumb.
The boss. Being that I can straighten this out for you too. Jimmy Calandra came on my show because he was in the chat and wanted to say hello. I never interviewed Jimmy Calandra. I got 200 videos and I could use the views. So if you want to go check. But have your information straight. That's all I'm saying.
It sounded like you were reading that off a cue card. That was cool.
No, I'm all right.
The way you said it, was
I'm
perfect.
all right. I'm not so stupid.
And you know what's the key to your show, guys? Are libraries, because I'll give you an example. My show has started growing in views because of my library. A lot of people are looking at my library.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very important to have shows that are entertaining. Like this show right here is 2.5 hours. I never do shows this long.
Your daughter just gave you something, Lee.
She gave me a 99. Hey, I made 99 cents today. I'm not going to be on here tomorrow. I don't do this for no reason. This is bullshit. $99, 99 cents. Come on, people.
Lee, do I have your permission to marry your daughter, NB?
Yes.
You give me your blessing?
Sorry.
Yes. I think.
All right. And since she's a woman, I'm 100% sure of that. I'll tell you where the wedding's going to be and how much money it's going to cost you.
Where's it going to be?
Boxing
It's
Hall
going
of
to be
Fame.
at the South Shore Country Club
Ooh.
How much is it
on
going to
Staten Island.
How much is it going
We're
to
going to have soup to nuts. It's going to be great.
Hey, Finn, just let me answer this. Finn, on YouTube, no, I'm not making money. I'm not really. But
Now,
that's
when
okay. I never ask anybody for money. I don't beg on YouTube. This isn't to fix my flaws. It's to fix my mind. That didn't come out right, but
I mean, that's a great thing, Vinny, that you just said. How therapeutic do you find this?
I was with Bear Stearns. It's me. Oh, I'm not. I'm wasting my time. Someone asked me if I was with Lehman. No, I was with Bear Stearns. What is that? How is it?
How therapeutic do you find this?
Well, when trolls come after me, it really shows me how far I've come mentally. So they don't realize they're just really helping me. When nice people come on, I realize that's why I do it. And pretty much they all help me.
Yeah. It's as therapeutic as a Bruce Lee roundhouse to your testicles. That's how therapeutic it feels.
Well, Joe, being that you're saying that, I hope the next shit you take is square.
Hey, you know,
It
and think about this, guys. When you first came on here, and I could say the same thing about me, the things people say now don't bother me, but when I first started, it really bothered me. Now I look at them, I put them up, and I laugh at them because I realize that these people that come on here are basically just coming on here to bash you, but you got to look at it this way. You got them as viewers. I don't care if they bash me. They can be my viewers.
Well, David just said that. You know what? Because I don't hide, David. I don't hide. If they want, I answer them. I could just make believe I can't see it. I could turn the comments off. I told you guys when I started my channel, it was a hybrid channel because my content sucks. I admit it. But what I do is I talk to you guys. You're my content. So that's pretty sick if I just, oh, thanks for saying I'm nice. Thanks for this. And don't address anyone else. So I just try to address you all. But when you keep on repeating things that are wrong,
yes, and
it's stupid.
Talking about wrong, we're going to show
you information straight. And more than that, because I'm college educated, spell right if you're going to go after me.
And
at least spell right.
Okay, Slug, you're very popular today. Vinny, what if Gene goes to jail because of Lee's phone calls? What then? I like to answer this first. Slug, it's a civil case. Do you get that? It's a civil case. And Gene's not in jail probably because of me. Remember that. I'm just going to say what I have to say. I mean,
that's it.
How about this one, guys? And this is where I have my little issue.
What's that?
When there was a show done the other day, and it was basically said, "Oh, Gene was nothing in the street," but yet he put away Vinny Osaro and Ronnie G. So what was he? Does that make sense? That he was nothing in the street, but he put away.
But who's saying that? Is it someone from over there? Because how would they know?
No, I'm not going to say who.
If they're not from Ozone Park or Howard Beach or New York, how would you know? Because someone told you?
Well, that was one of the things they were talking about the other day. I'm not going to say who, and but that was what they were saying. And logically, you got to say to yourself, when these big guys get put, even Jimmy Clandor, this is where I'm wrong. Like I used to bust Jimmy Clandor was just no. The fact of the matter is, Jimmy did help put away Spiro, so it's obvious that he knew him, whether people like it or not. It's obvious that he knew that Sparrow ordered some murders, isn't it?
I don't know if he ever. I don't know.
Never heard the testimony.
Wasn't there?
Don't know.
Yeah, he testified along with a couple other people, and Sparrow went to prison for the rest of his life. And that's the fact of the matter. It's so we can't. If these guys are putting bigger guys away, we can't say they're nothing.
Right.
They're somebody because they're. And I'm not saying it's right, but we can't say they're nothing. It's like even with John A. Light, you don't want to hear it, but when they took John Jr., they put capital charges on him. So that means that they had to think that A. Light knew something. Sure, they threw it out.
But if he was Gotti's right-hand man,
No,
basically
that whole senior shit is bullshit. I did a
he
show on that the other day.
they couldn't convict him. And, your best friend, if he cooperates, he normally should have the goods on you.
Yeah, he just was around people and he did shit. There's no doubt about that. But he sure the hell didn't know. Senior and him had nothing to do with each other, period. Because a guy like John Gotti Sr. had his group of guys. He wouldn't talk to anybody else. Come on. Do you think John Gotti would talk to John A. Light or send him on a hit? I mean, how ridiculous.
He would talk to John A. Light, but it would be like, all right, how much was the pizza? How much do I owe you?
Lee,
Or like, did you get my pizza? It would be something like that.
Much, Lee. He was a micromanager, John Gotti. There is no way that he didn't know who his son was hanging out with.
Yeah.
So he had to know him because there's no way he wouldn't know who his son is hanging out with. So do I think he could just go talk to John Gotti? No. He'd probably have to go to the soldier. Can I have a word with him? I don't think he really spoke to him.
And that's how most of the bosses were.
But he knew who he was.
Oh,
wasn't John A. Light in Victoria's wedding party?
Yeah.
He was?
He was in a tuxedo at one of those weddings. So he was there.
Was he at Junior's wedding?
Yeah. Wasn't he an usher at Junior's wedding?
I think he was at Junior's wedding. I don't think
My uncle was there. Yeah.
No,
I don't think he was at Victoria's wedding.
I think he was. I think he was an usher at Junior's wedding.
I think he was there.
I think he was.
Well, I guess
there's pictures of it.
I guess the best thing to do is to go on the show and ask Angel when she has her show.
He was clearly John Gotti's friend, John Gotti Jr.
Yes, without doubt. There's no doubt.
Clearly, there's pictures of him. Clearly,
no doubt about that.
From the people around here that knew him, they say he was a tough kid.
Yeah.
But my question is, how tough are you when, it's easy to be tough when you got the boys behind you. You know what I mean? The guy you're talking to was scared shit of you. You know what I mean? Like you're with the Gotti crew. I mean, that carries some weight.
Hey, Tom, you never
needed to be a tough guy on your own. When you needed to be a tough guy, when they asked you to take your pants off and bend over, he wasn't doing that.
Angelo has a question for you, Joe.
Yes.
What is the most accurate site to price cards?
eBay.
eBay?
Go on eBay and see what the card's selling for. Because you can't go off price guides, because price guides don't mean shit. It's what people will be willing to pay for that card. So the price guide could say 5,000. If the card's selling for 3,000, well, the card's worth 3,000.
And look at that.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Well, Angelo, I put you up right after I put this up. Angelo puts up another one behind it, insulting me. You gotta love this shit. See that, Angelo?
I'm going to put a challenge out there. If I come on later tonight, I'm not sure. If I go to Elton, no. If I come on later tonight, will everyone make sure I have $7 in my super chat, because I'm going to get a Starbucks right now. So that's I don't ask you guys for money, but tonight I'm asking you for $7.
And you know what, that guys, I'm gonna thank you both for being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed this. A lot of questions. You answered some tough questions. People were all over the place here. I appreciate everybody that was here, even the people that had.
Hate our guts.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. Because
Yeah,
you know,
the people that hate me, I will tell you this much. I mean it. I think if you met me, some of you probably would hate me more, but some would probably say, he's not so bad.
you know,
So,
did you
I hope
know
you, I
that,
wish you well too. I really do. Even the guys that come after me, I wish you guys too, because in the end, I got sick. And believe me, even if I wasn't that sick, it makes you think. And this is all bullshit. I hope you're all good and no hard feelings, guys. I really mean that. I hope you guys are healthy and well.
And I want to thank all you guys for accepting me into your lives and listening to me rattle shit off and act stupid at times. But thank you guys, and thank you, Lee, and thank you, Vinny. And
Thank you, Joe.
see you guys soon.
you guys take care. I'm going to
Thanks
say goodbye,
again, sir.
everybody.
I appreciate it. Goodbye, chat. Take care,
Take
buddy.
care.
And take care, everybody.
Okay, people, this has been a long show today. I really like to thank the people that came here from FBS's show today and spent a couple hours. Wow. But everybody take care. I appreciate everybody that was here today. I really do. My dog does. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing, baby? Okay. Oh, wait, let me read this first. $4.99 from Carmine. Keep the show rolling. Unfortunately, I can't. I got to take my dogs out, make dinner and stuff like that. But everybody take care. I really enjoyed you people being here today, even the ones with tough questions. That's what makes this show fun. Take care, people.